Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with River Brown and Andrew Velez, and this is now episode 131. In this episode, we will be ranking the 2019 and 2020 NBA draft class, talk about 5 breakout sophomores, the Knicks struggles, if the Suns should trade for Cat, if Jokic is being overlooked, and more. This is now episode 131, and a quick Patreon shout out to Anthony, BJ, PJs, Mario, Langston, Jazzy, Juice, Johannes, Ruben, Brian, Ricky, E, Enzo, Sean Solis, Sean, Muffins, John, Sean Triplet, Burner Hoops, Court Cousins, Ben Mack, P. George, Hikari, Mateen, Dave 2 Freedom, and Jay Aqua.
Good old Jay Aqua, man.
We need about 2-3 more names to fill that gap, so Jay Aqua is last. I think we're at 20. We're at 26 or 27 patrons now. Thank you guys so much for supporting us in a monetary donational way. But if you support us, whether you listen to the podcast on Spotify, Apple, or whatever streaming platform, or on YouTube, thank you guys so much. It means the world to us. This is going to be a very fun show. We're going to do a 2019 and 2020 NBA redraft. So what we're going to do is that Riv, me, and Drew will all have 5 picks. We're going to pick 15 players. It's basically us ranking both draft classes together and picking the best players combined from those draft classes. So we're going to try to create a starting 5 using those two draft classes. This should be a lot of fun. We still haven't decided who has the first pick. So we're going to flip a quarter right now and decide that. So
how are we going to do that with 3 people?
All right, so it's me versus you. Whoever wins goes against Joel.
So I'm the kingpin, and you guys, I'm in the finals. You guys are in the conference
it's cap, actually. So now I got it. Whoever wins, right, you go to the next round. Then it'll be me and Joel. Whoever loses gets the 3rd pick.
Oh, okay.
So loser faces me. And okay,
exactly. All right, I'll call in there.
That's some
heads. All right, here we go. Test. Fails, baby. Give me that.
What is it? It's heads?
Yep.
So Riv won. Okay, so
every
Riv,
time. No. It's not yet.
Riv right now has the number 1 pick. Now it's Drew and I. I'm gonna call it.
No, and then if whoever wins this faces Riv for the number 1 pick.
Yeah, so it's us. So we're fighting for the number 2 pick.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Call it.
Tails.
All right. We got a chance.
Wait, I don't have to play him because I beat him already, right?
No, yeah,
that's a fact.
So you get the 2nd pick.
All right, fair enough.
I told you I'd go first.
This guy every time, bro.
Jesus.
Okay,
right.
So with the first pick in the 2020-2019 NBA redraft, Riv selects
Ja Morant. It has to be Ja Morant. Wow. It's in terms of
over Zion?
Yes.
Over LaMelo?
Duh. And think about it. In the since all these guys have been in the league, who has impacted their team the most, has turned their team the most respectable, and has made the playoffs and put on the show? It's been Ja Morant. And then this year, he's in the MVP conversation. He's been modest improvements every year. He's turned Memphis into a relevant basketball team. It has to be Ja Morant. In terms of changing my franchise, I have the number 1 pick. I got to go Ja Morant.
Write that down so you keep track of your lineup.
I'm here.
Okay, so Ja Morant, that's your first overall pick. Now, with the 2nd overall pick in this redraft, Drew selects.
I'm gonna go LaMelo Ball. Only reason I'm not going Zion is because the weight's a concern for me. He's over 300 right now. Obviously, he's had some injury issues up until this point in his career. He's a freak of nature when he's on the court. It's clear as day. When he's healthy, when he's on, he's giving you a minimum of 27 a night. He's like that. But I'm worried about it. For the long term, at least right now, he scares me. He's getting up there on weight. He loves that gumbo in New Orleans for some reason. He can't lay off of it. But I'm going with LaMelo because obviously of the ways that he impacts the game, both offensively, defensively. Offensively, not only is he a solid, borderline elite scorer, he facilitates the offense so well. He's a rebounder on top of that. He's got size. He's got athleticism. So I'm going LaMelo.
Wow. You guys just made the 2 biggest mistakes on draft night.
That's what they said before.
Yeah.
And now look at him.
Yeah.
Okay, with the 3rd overall pick, Team Joel, I'm selecting Zion Williamson. The fact that you, with the first look, I'm not mad that you picked Ja Morant over Zion. I know that Ja has done more so far, but Zion is the better player.
Availability is the best ability.
That's true, but in this redraft, we're taking into account that they're going to be relatively healthy.
It's scaring me though, bro. He's getting big.
And for one, look, I'm not that mad at you that you passed on Zion for Ja.
You get a pass because you're River. That's what it is.
The fact that you passed on Zion for a LaMelo Ball. I love LaMelo, but it's Zion. This guy just had a historical second year. Compare second season with any NBA great of all time.
I might have to agree with him.
Look, I'm going with Zion. The fact that he fell to me, Zion, I got it. So to reiterate, the first 3 picks is basically the first round because we're doing 5 rounds. So with the first pick, you selected
Ja Morant.
I went LaMelo Ball,
and I went with Zion Williamson. So that's our team so far.
Before we continue, so you would have picked LaMelo at 1.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would have.
Okay. Continue. Yeah, you're crazy.
So, with the fourth
it's not that crazy. You think about it, obviously.
It is crazy.
I personally think there's only one person you could have took over Ja right now, and that would be Zion.
You think so? I mean, bro, his injury history has been scary up.
Well, just from a sheer talent perspective, I think.
But LaMelo, we've only seen him continue to get better and better, shooting the ball, rebounding the basketball, obviously facilitating. That's just his.
He's not as good as Ja though.
Not right now.
In terms of just as a ball player right now, which is fine.
Ja's different.
Which is fine, but I'm talking for the long term. LaMelo seems to be the safest for me.
Poverty franchise.
Ja's explosiveness is going to get him very far in this league, but we don't know how long the longevity of his
Team Drew poverty
He's 22
franchise.
Though. This is going to be a while before something happens.
Team Drew poverty
for sure.
franchise.
Oh no, definitely.
So with the 4th overall pick, Team Riv selects, and say it after the music stops.
I'm basing my team off a talent standpoint. You guys already took LaMelo. You took Zion. The next best player has got it. I'm going Darius Garland. I think right now Darius Garland has shown the ability to be a Steph Curry-like player in the sense of has the shooting ability, has the range, be that type of playmaker, be able to basically impact his team on ways without the ball. And I think right now the improvement in his game is showing. He's become a better player. He's starting to be more efficient with the ball. He's starting to be more efficient in his shooting. And I think he's going to be an elite point guard down the road. So I'm going to go Darius Garland.
I love Garland, but you're going with Garland over Hero and Anthony Edwards.
Listen, let that.
Oh, my God.
It's too late. It's too
late.
You
made your pick already. It's over.
I got the squad now.
Damn.
He's mad. Because obviously,
let the record show I wouldn't have picked Garland over Anthony.
That's all right.
Now with the 5th overall pick, Drew selects
Mr. Anthony Edwards.
Damn.
Oof, what a steal this one was, without a doubt. Garland obviously is a solid ball player. I'm sure you know you're not taking him over Anthony Edwards. Obviously, his scoring abilities are already getting up there as one of the most impressive in the league. Doing this at this young of an age is truly impressive to me, averaging around 24 points per game this season alone, and he hasn't even really broke the surface yet. I think that he's only going to continue to evolve in his game on all sides of the ball. He just needs to be a little bit more efficient. I feel like that's the one thing he's lacking right now, but I have no doubts he'll clean that up. So obviously, this is a no-brainer for me. I'm going Anthony Edwards.
Now with the 6th overall pick, Team Joel, I'm selecting somebody who has broken out this season. I'm going with Tyler Hero. Listen, this was tough because between Hero and Garland, it is very close, but I think Tyler Hero is a better scorer. He can play the point guard position somewhat well. He can manage an offense. Because of that, I'm going to pair up Tyler Hero with Zion Williamson. I'm taking him over Darius Garland, and I like my team so far with Zion and Tyler. So,
you got a cute team.
So after the 2nd round, Riv, your team is
Ja Morant and Darius Garland.
Sick boy.
Yo, Edwards is literally number 2 on my board. I'm so mad that I just whatever.
I'd be so sick.
And your team, Drew, is
I got LaMelo and I got Anthony Edwards.
And me, I have Zion and Tyler Hero.
Poverty-stricken franchise.
This guy's team stinks.
Now with the 7th overall pick, Team Riv selects.
I already have my backcourt settled. This, you know what? I'm going to have to go RJ Barrett. I have to go RJ Barrett. With the fact that I have Ja Morant, with the fact that I have Darius Garland for spacing, I feel like bringing in RJ Barrett to be that type of wing that can defend and can get to the basket is only going to open up more for Darius Garland in the open floor. So I think I'm going to take RJ. This could have went RJ. This could have went Patrick Williams. This could have went DeAndre Hunter. But I think RJ right now has shown the biggest improvement. He has shown the fact that he can be healthy. And I think right now he is better than both of them. So
okay, hit my music.
Now with the 8th overall pick, Team Drew selects.
So I'm going to take one of the better bigs in this. I guess these two draft classes combined, I'm going to go James Wiseman.
Bro's taking a Wiseman.
Bro's taking a big at 10.
Listen, he's good luck taking your bigs because you guys will be playing some small ball lineups.
That's what I plan on doing.
I mean, you got Zion, so you're going to be all right.
Yeah,
but
you're
going to be stressed. But regardless of that, obviously, we haven't seen James Wiseman really break the surface yet. But even still, I do believe in his talents. He's, 6'10", 6'11"
He's
guy.
7 feet tall.
Which is even better for me. Obviously, like I said, we haven't seen him break the surface with the Warriors, but I do believe his game is going to translate well once he comes back from injury. I think that he can shoot the ball relatively well from the mid-range. I think that his inside game is pretty smooth. We just need to see him get some more minutes, but I do believe in James Wiseman, so I'm going with him.
And I like Wiseman, too.
For sure. I think we just need to see him on the court healthy, and I just think that with the way the Warriors are playing now, it'll be a little bit easier for him to get in the swing of things.
Now with the 9th overall pick, Team Joel selects. So I'm fulfilling my backcourt. I'm going to select Darius Garland here. I'm going to have Garland and Harrow in the backcourt.
Didn't he take Garland?
Oh, you took Garland?
I took Garland. Oh, my
God.
You literally said I took Garland.
Oh, my God.
Now, Riv screwed the whole board up when he went Garland over Edwards.
I wasn't sure you're going to take Garland.
Board in shambles.
Okay, with the 9th overall pick.
Board in shambles.
I'm looking here, and I'm looking at the point guard position. I could go with Cole Anthony. I could go with Tyrese Maxey. They're both phenomenal. But I feel like I need some defense on my team, and I'm going with Devin Vassell. I think Devin Vassell this year has really is coming into his own. Right now, I believe he's averaging 12 and a half points per game, shooting 47% from the field, 39% from three, and he is just a lockdown defender at that wing position. I'm fulfilling my wing position, so now I have Harrow, Zion, and Vassell.
Question, did you even consider Halliburton? Or were you thinking more defensively? That's why you went Vassell?
I think Tyrese Halliburton, I was thinking about him, but I just don't know if the ceiling is there for him.
Okay.
Pre-draft, my comparison for him was like Malcolm Brogdon. And in his rookie year, he played really well. But now in his second year, we're seeing guys like Cole Anthony and Maxey being playing better than him.
Yeah.
Granted, it's early in the season, but Tyrese Halliburton, he's a good player, but I just think Vassell has that upside that I'm looking for. I was considering another player, though, that you guys are going to be shocked because I'm thinking I'm going to take him. I think I'm going to take him sooner. So now with the 10th overall pick, or actually let's do our rounds first. So in the first 3 rounds, Riv's team is...
I got John Moran at the 1, Garland at the 2, and RJ Barrett is running my 3.
Ironically, I have the 1, 2, 3 of the 2020 draft. I got LaMelo, I got Anthony Edwards, and I got James Wiseman.
And I have Tyler Herro, Devin Vassell, and Zion Williamson. So
my team ain't that bad.
Let's talk about players that are still on the board, right, at each position, because I made a big board for each position. So Ja, Garland, they're out. We still have Kevin Porter Jr., Cole Anthony, Halliburton, Emmanuel Quickley, and Tyrese Maxey. At the shooting guard position, we have Kobe White, Jordan Poole, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Taylor Horton-Tucker, and Desmond Bane. At the small forward position, we have DeAndre Hunter, Keldon Johnson, Cam Reddish, Terrence Mann, Sadiq Bey, Isaac Okoro, Pat Will, and Denny Advia. Power forwards, Rui, PJ Washington, Brandon Clark, Baisley, Cam Johnson, Xavier Tillman, and Obi Toppin. And our centers, Gafford, Claxton, Isaiah Stewart, and Onyeka Okongwu. So with the 10th overall pick, Team Riv is selecting who?
This is a wing league, man. This is a wing league.
It's going baby claw.
I gotta go Pat Will, man. I do.
I'm sick.
I got Pat Will on one wing, RJ Barrett on another wing. Two young defensive guys. Pat Will, he walked in his rookie year. He showed the ability to play defense at an elite level, and his potential is off the charts. I gotta go Patrick Will with my 10th pick.
I got a question for you.
Talk to me.
If Devin Vassell was there, were you still taking Pat Will over Vassell?
I would have really thought about it, but
because for me, Vassell, it was between Vassell, Pat Will, and DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah, the problem with Pat Will is his offensive game hasn't caught up, and it probably won't because of DeMar, Zach, and them. With Vassell, he has more time to grow, so I probably would have took Vassell at that moment, but you took him.
And with the 11th overall pick, Team Drew selects who?
Now, this shouldn't be a surprise to you guys. We just saw him have a little bias in his heart. And I might have a little bias in mine.
Your pick is dumb if you're going this way.
You think so?
If you pick THT over DeAndre Hunter, You are crazy.
DeAndre Hunter has been okay this season. He's been all right.
Go ahead.
You know what? I feel like no one's going to take him here, obviously. So you know what? I might have to wait on this. If he takes THT, it'd be ironic. And I don't see you taking him at all.
I won't.
I'm going to wait on it, actually. I'm going to go Desmond Bane, believe it or not. I just think that the way that he's been playing these first 2 seasons in his career, he's a perfect 3-and-D guy. He can fit in almost any system, truthfully. Obviously, he's a solid 3-point shooter, but even more so, he's an elite defender. I feel like he'll fit perfectly on my team, especially with LaMelo running the point. You still got Anthony Edwards to be one of the primary scorers, and they're going to be seeing him in transition. He's going to be sitting in that corner wide open for a 3. And on the other side, obviously, he can lock up any 2-guard, any 3-guard. He's a good fit for my squad, so I'm going Desmond Bane.
I'm surprised none of you have taken Cole Anthony. Well, you have your guard position set up.
I got LaMelo. I really don't need him, and Bane obviously could play that 2, 3.
So you're taking Desmond Bane over DeAndre Hunter.
Edwards has actually logged 73% of his time
shooting guard
at the 3.
Okay,
back-to-back years.
Yeah.
So he's a 3.
So you're taking Desmond Bane. That's your pick. Okay. Pick 12. Team Joel is selecting. Now this is tough for me because I have Cole Anthony on the board, Tyrese Halliburton,
you got some
DeAndre Hunter, Maxey, Gafford. There are a lot of options to choose from. I think with Vassell, I have a lockdown defender. I look at my team. Hero, Zion can create for themselves. Vassell can spot up and shoot. Man, this is tough for me. I really can't decide. But I'm going to spoil Drew's pick. I'm taking Taylor Horton-Tucker.
Oh, you bastard! You're a bastard! This is your fault.
Don't listen to me. I'm trying to spoil your team. Why would you listen to me?
I'm sick.
Taylor Horton-Tucker, he's been averaging 23 points per game this year. It's only been 3 games, but he's been one of the lone bright spots on the Lakers team. I think he has really good ball handling ability. He can drive to the basket. He's a much improved shooter this season, and he can play defense as well. So now I have Hero THD who can create, and Zion who's just a menace in getting to the paint. So I like my team so far.
Oh, you know what? I'm glad you did this. I'm extremely glad you did this because now I have the perfect opportunity to call both of you guys out. THC. He's really not that good.
No, I still believe.
He's really not that good.
You think I changed my opinion?
I am. My mind is blown. So now you're in on THT.
I like THT.
Really? Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting.
I'm more in on THT than it's just about fit for me though. Like between
read your squad for me.
Between it's Tyler Hero, THT, Vassell, and Zion.
You still need a point guard.
Yeah, you're right. But
they're still available.
I could take a point guard. I've had Halliburton, Cole Anthony available.
THT could play that 3. You're saying you got Hero. He'll obviously play the 2. Who do you say? Vassell? Ooh,
yeah,
that gets tough.
You're a small team.
Obviously, you guys not unless you're playing Zion.
I'm playing Zion at the 5.
Yeah,
he's gonna be my small ball 5. I have a small ball 5.
THT could kind of play that hybrid 4.
Because the thing is, look, I'm not. You took Wiseman.
Yeah,
I wasn't even gonna take Wiseman. He wasn't even on my board. I'm gonna be honest. Gafford, he's a great defender, but I can't take him over the guys that are here right now. There's a lot of talent here. So with the 13th overall pick, Team Riv selects who?
You took Wiseman. You took Zion. I'm looking to build the best defensive front court out here. Okay. So with that being said, I need a 5. And the best 5 out of this class, in my opinion, I think it'll be the best 5. I'm going to take Onyeka. I think I'm going to take the defensive big right now. It could have went Onyeka and DeAndre Hunter, but I refuse to run three undersized wings in my lineup. So I'm going to go RJ Barrett, Pat Will, Onyeka to build that front court, that long, lanky defensive front court. And I'll be fine with against Zion or against James Wiseman. So that's going to be my pick.
All right.
Now with the 14th overall pick, Team Drew selects who?
So I think the last position I really need to solidify firmly is my power forward position. And Rui Hachimura has just been going round and round and round without being selected. And
why would we select him?
Because Rui actually is a solid defender.
Aside from me blundering that Edwards pick, your team really would have been bad.
Why is that?
Because I feel like you
would have gave me Garland.
You wouldn't have picked Garland.
What do you mean?
I don't think you'd have picked Garland.
Who would I have picked then?
THT.
Oh my God! I took Bane over THT. So
you're taking?
I'm taking Rui Hachimura.
You're taking Rui over Hunter.
I am taking Rui over Hunter. I'm telling you, Hunter hasn't been that great this season.
He's been a lockdown defender.
Rui hasn't played.
Rui is a solid defender still, and we're only seeing his offensive game continue to evolve as he's been in the league. So I feel like that The only position I really needed was a power forward, and Rui really can play that position for me perfectly. My lineup, you look at it, LaMelo obviously can run that point guard position. He has the size. He has the athleticism. He could play that 1, 2, or 3 if I really needed him to. Who was my 2 guard? Desmond Bane, obviously a perfect 3-and-D type player. Anthony Edwards, one of the best scorers or young scorers in our league right now. Rui Hachimura, same thing. I wouldn't say he's a 3-and-D player because obviously his three-point shot isn't the best, but he can still get you a bucket if need be. And again, his defense is solid. And then James Wiseman, who, in my opinion, obviously we haven't seen what he can be, but at the same time, we still understand what his potential is. And we see that obviously he has the size, he has the athleticism, he has the shooting ability for a big. I love this team.
You're taking Rui with your 14th overall pick.
Correct.
Now I have a tough decision because I have Hunter, Maxey, Halliburton, and Cole Anthony still on the board. Now with the 15th overall pick, I'm selecting Tyrese Halliburton. I need a point guard. I need somebody to run the show. Hero can be my 2. And Cole Anthony, I love his game, but I think Halliburton can just play defense. And because I'm running a small ball 5 lineup, I need players who can defend. THT, Vassell, Halliburton, they can all defend. Hero's my only liability, but I think my perimeter defense is going to be fine. So I'm taking Halliburton. So with that being said, we finished our draft. So, Riv, name your team, your point guard to your center.
Okay, so John Morant's going to be running my offense. He's at the 1. Darius Garland is my 2. RJ Barrett, I'm going to play him at the 3. Pat Will is going to be my 4. And Onyeka at the 5.
You got a cute lineup. That's a cute lineup.
I'm going to lock you down.
No, definitely not. You're not locking down Anthony
Edwards.
Love lockdown. That's a classic. But regardless of that, my starting 5, like I just mentioned, we got LaMelo Ball running the point guard position. At the 2, we got Desmond Bane, that 3-and-D type player. Anthony Edwards, again, one of the best young scorers in our league. Rui Hachimura, we're just breaking into the NBA, really, just not really touching the surface of what he could be yet. I love his game. And then obviously James Wiseman, another one of those players who I do believe in. And I think once his time comes, he'll make the most of it.
Now, my lineup is Tyrese Halliburton at the 1, Tyler Hero at the 2, THT at the 3, Devin Vassell at the 4, and Zion Williamson at the 5. I'll be honest, for having the 3rd overall pick, I think I picked better than you guys.
Be honest.
We'll let the fans decide that. We'll let the viewers decide that.
You picked Zion?
If you're watching this, let us know who has the best team. Is Team Drew's the best? Is Team Riv the best? Or is Team Joel the best?
I'm still stunned at the THT pick, man. The amount of disrespect that came out of your two mouths.
Why do you keep adding? Remember you said don't put y'all? No, I wouldn't have picked him.
I'm saying
there was 20 guys I would pick before him.
Y'all still disrespected him.
I will continue to do that.
Which is wrong and incorrect.
So let's talk about some of the guys that did not make the cut. Cole Anthony, DeAndre Hunter, Tyrese Maxey did not make the cut. Kevin Porter Jr. did not make it. Kobe White, Jordan Poole, Nickeil Alexander-Walker did not make it. Keldon Johnson, Cam Reddish, Sadiq Bey did not make it. PJ Washington, Baisley, Tillman, Obi didn't make it, and Claxton and Isaiah Stewart and Gafford did not make it as well. So let's just talk about the players that didn't make it for a second. So Cole Anthony, he didn't make it for me because I just didn't want another scoring guard. That's really what it was. DeAndre Hunter, I already had my wing position solidified with Vassell, and I think THT is a better creator than DeAndre Hunter. Tyrese Maxey, I already had a scoring guard, but I would have loved to take him. KPJ, he's not a point guard, and he's been really inefficient this year.
Definitely.
And that's really it. And Jordan Poole, I have a better Jordan Poole than Tyler Hero.
I think for me, DeAndre Hunter was on my board at 10. I thought he would have got picked by one of us, but I just picking RJ Barrett, picking Pat Will. I like Pat Will's defense more, and RJ Barrett, I like his offensive game more a little bit, and I think he'll become a better player than DeAndre Hunter. For Cole Anthony, for me personally, I feel like Garland and John Moran is just better than him. I feel like the combination of scoring, shooting, and playmaking, Darius Garland exceeds Cole in that aspect, and John Moran, I don't even need to explain why he's better than Cole Anthony. But Rui, I had 13 on my board. Quickly's a guy I was thinking about a little bit. KPJ, Jordan Poole, Tyrese Maxey. But a lot of these guys at the end, they started coming on a little bit late with the guys I picked. We've seen them throughout the year, for the most part, modest success, improving drastically. For some of these guys, though, it's been kind of like just a recent thing.
The only one I could really see is not taking DeAndre Hunter. Obviously, DeAndre Hunter last season showed that he's a solid ball player. Defensively, obviously, he's a lockdown defender. And offensively, obviously, can still get you a bucket whenever. I wouldn't say whenever, but he can give you a bucket or two from time to time. He's a decent scorer. That being said, I just think that Rui Hachimura, a little bit more athletic. Still, you probably lose a little bit of defense, but you're getting a little bit of more offense with Rui. It's just he's got to stay healthy and he's got to get his mind right.
So this was our 2019 and 2020 redraft. We combined both draft classes and drafted the best players available from each one, and we created a starting 5 out of them. So let us know who we missed, who we may have reached for, any of that good stuff, and let's see if you guys hate our list or you love our list or love our starting lineup. I feel like we're going to get a lot of pushback on TikTok.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I mean, you get pushback on every single video.
I'm gonna get pushback for the THT pick. You're gonna get pushback on the Wiseman pick.
I'm done.
On the Onyeka, because I think Gafford's better than Onyeka.
On the Garland pick, he's gonna get pushback, even though people should know it was an accident.
Maybe
Onyeka's more switchable though. But
yeah. I think the Garland over Edwards.
Now, question: Isaiah Stewart. Did you contemplate him at all?
No.
At the
he's
5?
a 6'7" center.
Which is fair, but even still, he's a solid big though.
I just like Gafford. I would have picked Gafford before Stewart. I would have even picked another 4 or a 3 before Stewart. But Stewart is good though.
Yeah, word.
PJ Washington. Before.
Yeah, I would have picked.
I don't know about PJ. Truthfully, he's been a little bit too inconsistent for me.
You said he could average 30.
Did you say that?
No, I did not. Yo, what's good with you?
He then said that one episode.
My God. No, I did not. I said he has the capabilities of being a good ball player. We've seen him drop 40.
That doesn't even sound like you.
What?
Saying that.
At 30?
Nah, bro, he said that.
No, I'm talking about what you just said. He has the capabilities of being. It doesn't even sound like how you speak.
Bro, Drew,
exactly
you were like he has the capability of dropping 30, 40.
Oh, yeah, he can.
And then I was like, you really just said that? Like
he does. I mean, he dropped 40 points in a game.
One time.
Corey Brewer has the capability of dropping.
Terrence Ross dropped 50.
Terrence Ross did drop 50.
I said Corey Brewer. You know he had 40 before.
So does Terrence Ross have the capability of dropping 50, or was that just a one-time anomaly?
I mean, Terrence Ross, he's a decent
he's a good player, but PJ's a good player too, but he's a 10, 13 point per game guy.
Hey, I'm with you. You're trying to clown me
now. You made it sound like
I didn't say anything egregious.
You made it sound like he could drop 20 a game.
Not. That's how you interpreted it, which is your prerogative, which is fine with me. I'm just saying he's clearly shown the capabilities of being a good offensive player.
We just went through the 2020 NBA draft class. We picked some of them in our starting lineups, and now they are in their second season. We know guys like LaMelo and Anthony Edwards, they shined as rookies. Desmond Bane really solidified his role as a rookie, but there are breakout sophomores this season that have found their way, have found their footing in the league so far. So we're going to go over our top 5 breakout sophomores, and I'll go first. I think number 1 is Cole Anthony. He's averaging 19.9 points per game, basically 20 a game, 6.9 rebounds, 5.7 assists, with 1.2 steals per game, shooting 42% from the field and 37% from 3. He's dribbling less and making a lot quicker decisions, and the Magic are 40.2 points better when Cole is on the floor. I'm going to the Nets game today versus the Magic. I'm going to be seeing Cole Anthony live. I'm excited for that. And Kevin Durant is out. So James Harden, it's going to be the James Harden show. He's dropped a 60-point triple-double against the Magic before. So we'll see if he does that tonight. So Cole Anthony is one of my top 5 breakout sophomores. Who's yours?
Cole Anthony was at 1 for me.
So before we all go, I just want to know if we all have the same list. So my 5 is Cole, Tyrese Maxey, Vassell, Advia, and Obi.
So we don't have the same list.
Okay. Who's do you differ from mine? Like, who do you have?
Mine's 1 is at Cole, 2 is Sadiq Bey, 3 is Devin Vassell, 4 is Tyrese Maxey, and then 5 is Halliburton. But mine's wasn't an order thing. It was just 5.
Yeah, mine was
top 5 breakout sophomores.
Yeah, I just put the 5 guys I feel like is breaking out right now. I didn't put it in order.
Okay, explain this Sadiq Bey one.
Sadiq Bey, with him, it's more of a eye test for me thing. Like, he's improved his game in the one-on-one game. He's improved on the defensive end. He's improved in handling the ball. His numbers probably don't. His efficiency is low right now. His numbers don't scream improving, but if you watch him play, you definitely see the improvements in all areas of his game. So that's why I had to throw it for him.
Okay, and the other one you had that different from mine is Tyrese Halliburton too. So explain that.
No, I had Burn in my 5.
No, but
I didn't have Tyrese on mine.
You didn't have Tyrese?
Because I thought last year was pretty much the same. He's putting up the same numbers as this year.
I think with this year, a lot of his, like I said, the same thing with Sadiq Bey is with Tyrese Halliburton. Yeah, it's the continuing to show slight improvement in his game while also getting guys in. Davion Mitchell stepped in, De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes has taken that jump. But yet and still, you still see Tyrese Halliburton improving on defense. He's becoming a much better on-ball defender. He's still that same guy off-ball. His decision-making has gotten better. I didn't even think it could get better at this point, but it has. So it's like with him, it's like him and Sadiq Bey for me are eye testing.
Okay. And for you, Drew?
So for the three we have similar, obviously I got Cole Anthony on here. I got Tyrese Maxey on here. I got Devin Vassell. So the two that we differ, you said Desmond Bane obviously showed a little bit last season. I still have him on one of my top 5 breakout players. He's averaging almost 5 more points from last season. He's been a beast defensively. Obviously, he's only going to get better. And then I got Isaiah Stewart. I'm pretty high on him. Last season, I think he had more win shares. I think he led all rookies in win shares, even over LaMelo, even over Anthony Edwards. He was solid last year. Obviously, we spoke a little about how he's been undersized, how he is undersized. But now he's playing with Cade, and he's getting into the swing of things with the Pistons. Obviously, he's getting more minutes. He's looked really good at this point in the season. I feel like Cade being in the lineup is only going to benefit his game more, and we're going to see him start to really take off too. Okay,
so you mentioned Sadiq Bey and Halliburton. You mentioned Stewart and Desmond Bane. So I'm going to give the players that I have on my list. And my list is the same as Mike Schmidt's. He dropped an article about top 5 breakout sophomores. Mm-hmm. And coincidentally, I had the same list as him because Isaiah Stewart, he's a good player, but I don't know if he's broken out this year. When I see Cole Anthony, he's broken out.
Without a doubt.
Tyrese Maxey, he's averaging 18 points per game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 52% from the field, 43% from 3.
He's been a dog. Oh, my God.
He's one of only 2 players in the NBA that are averaging at least 17 points and 4 assists on 50% shooting from the 2 and 40% from 3. The only other player is Kevin Durant. So Maxey has been in elite company. This year, he has an 18.4 PER. Just for reference, last year, Ben Simmons had an 18.3. So Maxey has really taken over that role that Ben Simmons left. And I think he's been better because he's a better creator. He's more aggressive. He's a better shooter. And he's really been making defenders pay when they go under screens. And he's one of the best players at floaters. He's the most efficient player at floaters in the NBA, shooting them at 59%. So he's broken out for me completely. Third, Devin Vassell. 12.5 points per game, 4 rebounds, 1.1 steals per game. Last year, in his limited minutes, he showed a lot of defensive potential. And now that he's getting more minutes, he's showcasing that even more. 47% from the field, 39% from 3. And he's shot 78% on corner 3-point shots, which is just astounding. Devin Vassell is somebody who I think I am really high on. He has a super high ceiling. His floor in the NBA is Mikal Bridges. At worst, he'll be Mikal Bridges, which is still a very good player, but he has the potential to be a solid pro for 10-plus years. And he also held Shea to 14 points on 16 shots the other night.
So if his floor is Mikal, what do you think his ceiling is?
Yeah, it has to be high, because damn.
Because Mikal is a baller.
Yeah, like
he's
damn.
A baller.
Has to be an all-star.
It has to be like a Kawhi Leonard type.
Oh my!
Not as good as Kawhi. Not as good as Kawhi, but
he's saying thing.
I don't know what he's saying. I don't know what he's saying.
If you think Pat Will is baby claw, Vassell's better than Pat Will.
No, but he's been called. The nickname is. It's not because his game. It's because of his hand size and the way he plays. That's it. That's why we call him.
But I think Vassell can be an all-star. I really do. I really think he can, especially if he improves his game off the dribble. The sky is the limit for him.
Okay,
he's a really good player. Then fourth, I have Deni Avdija, and this is where it got tough because for me, this was really about breakout players. I don't know if Bane and Sadiq or Halliburton
explain the Deni one for me.
Deni Avdija, he's averaging 6.6 rebounds, 1.2 assists.
Got to be the defense.
No, that's exactly what it is.
6.6 steals per game and 0.8 blocks per game. It's just the defense. And the other day on a Wizard segment, I misspoke because I said Deni Avdija wasn't a good defender. And I mostly just said that because of how the guy looks. I mean, I don't expect him to be an awesome defender. But off the bench, he's guarded premier players like KD, like other superstars. And among the 13 players to defend at least 45 isolations so far this season, Avdija ranks first in points per direct, according to Second Spectrum, ahead of names like Evan Mobley and Bam Adebayo. He's averaging 1.7 blocks and 1.3 steals and 8.4 rebounds per game per 40 minutes. And according to cleaningtheglass.com, which I just got a subscription to, they have a bunch of great advanced analytics.
It's a really good app.
The Wizards allow 10.7 fewer points per 100 possessions when Advia is on the floor while holding opponents to a lower percentage and forcing more turnovers. The Wizards are 20.5 points better per 100 possessions when Advia is on the floor. And most of this information is coming from the Mike Schmitz article. The information he had in that article was fantastic. Yeah. I'm pretty much copy and pasting his stuff because it was amazing.
How many minutes is Advia average? Okay.
Yeah, he's playing about 20, and then Obi topping 7.8 points per game, 3.4 rebounds. Yeah. Okay. And he's shooting 56% from the field. He's not been too good from three this year, but his role is much different this year than last year. Last year, he was just stuck in the corner. This year, he's rolling to the rim much more. 39% of his shots last year were threes. Of the 114 players to have set at least 75 screens this season, Toppin is generating the second most points per chance, only behind Draymond Green. And he's shooting 74% at the restricted area.
So I got two questions. This one is for you. Is it safe to say Obi Toppin is playing at the moment that Kenneth Faried role for that Denver Nuggets team that made the playoffs?
No, because he's not playing a lot of minutes.
Well, I'm saying in the limited minutes he has, being that hype man, that guy that gets the crowd on his feet.
Look, he's been amazing, and the Knicks right now only have a winning record because our bench has been that good.
Knicks fans love Obi Toppin.
And Obi has been really amazing, and I think in the limited action that we've seen him, Knicks fans aren't too mad at that we took him over Halliburton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, last year I was pretty upset at that. And, you know, I wanted Halliburton at the time of the draft, but Obi has shown a lot of flashes, and he's really embraced his new role, and I think it fits him very well.
I'm going to wait to talk on Obi because we're going to talk about the Knicks.
And then question number 2. Who do you guys think, this is for all of us, that is out of our list, the one guy who can continue this pace throughout the season?
Cole Anthony.
Cole Anthony for you?
Tyrese Maxey,
he has
100%.
the opportunity.
Vassell is for me.
Okay.
I think because he's gonna. I think with him it's gonna be tricky because I think we talked about before, Fultz and Isaac will be back eventually. So is his offense gonna go down? He's probably gonna still be the same, but it's his offense gonna go. With Vassell, he's gonna have this role all year. You know, so it's gonna be the same guy for mostly the whole season.
So for me, then I'm gonna go Desmond Bane. I feel like similar to what you're saying with Devin Vassell, that 3-and-D type player. I know Desmond Bane's gonna be a solid defender. And he's just going to have that same role of being that shooter for them. He's averaging around 3 threes a game as of right now. And obviously you have John Morant running the show. He just got to do his job, and I think he's more than capable of doing it. With Cole Anthony, obviously we're seeing him play excellent basketball, but we got to see it sustained over the season. It's not one of those where last season, obviously Cole Anthony had flashes, but this season we're seeing him really take that next step in his game. So obviously he's been great, but is it sustainable? That's the question.
I mean, when I see Cole, what he's doing right now, he is putting himself in the conversation with LaMelo and Edwards right now, the way he's playing.
Oof. I would say I understand the sentiment. I understand.
Like the other
I just
guys,
think that you have those two, and then it's a next tier after that.
Like the other guys are solidified role players: Vassell, Sadiq Bey, Advia, Obi, Desmond Bane.
For sure.
Cole is the only one that's taking a lead role on his team.
That's true.
And the Magic are competitive.
Maxey?
But I feel like
Maxey too. Yeah, Maxey, of course.
But he's one of those guys that also has that opportunity. Look at the rest of those guys. I mean, I just think that the Magic obviously are in a position where they need to trust the younger guys to do a little bit more, and Cole Anthony's clearly benefiting from that.
The best, not too long ago, the best starting five in the NBA, net rating wise, was Cole, Suggs, Wagner, Wendell, and Bamba. It's really been their bench that
Bamba and Wendell
leads.
have been very good.
We were clowning Bamba like not too long ago too. That's the
I like Bamba
part.
though.
I like him too. I like Wendell, and
I hate him. I hate him in Chicago. He wasn't good.
But he's basically doing what he was doing on Chicago, so I don't understand why you hate him.
No, he wasn't.
I mean, essentially, bro, he averages around a double-double.
Yeah, I know you're going to look at the numbers and think he was doing the same thing, but no, he wasn't this good defensively.
Fair. That's the one thing I'll give you.
He couldn't stay on the court. That's the main thing for us. But, you know, new environment, new vibes. So Orlando loves him.
Yeah.
So those are our top 5 breakout sophomores. Well, more like top 8, top 9 breakout sophomores.
We went through a few.
So next topic, the New York Knicks. And this is our first time talking about them in a while. The Knicks are struggling. They lost to Orlando twice at home. I'm going to be on the 6-man show this Sunday, and I'm going to talk about those games. Actually, it's funny. They replied to my Instagram story of Q&As on Instagram, and they were like, when should they rename MSG to Magic Square Garden? Because they beat us twice already. We lost to Orlando twice at home, Toronto, and the Bucks, and we had leads in those games. We're 3-5 at home and 5-2 on the road. We're 17th in points per game allowed, so our defense has gotten better. We have the 13th best net rating, but that's because of our bench. Our bench has drastically been better than our starting lineup. Kemba, RJ, Fournier, Mitch, and Randall. On the season, they have a negative 16 net rating, the second worst among lineups that have played 100 minutes or more. The only starting five that is worse is the Houston Rockets one, and they're historically
they're bad.
Rose, Quickly, Burks, Toppin, and Gibson have a plus 28 net rating, by far the best bench in the NBA. And everybody in the starting lineup is in the negative in terms of points allowed per possession. Kemba Walker is averaging 12 points per game, and even that is misleading because he's been so up and down. You know, these are just his points in the last couple of games. 4 points, 5 points, 8 points, 2 points, 26, 15, 15. Like, this guy, there's no consistency with Kemba. He doesn't have that same burst that he once had. I think he is more on the wash side than on the all-star side. Defensively, we know he's a liability. Fournier, ever since the opening night versus the Boston Celtics, where he had a career high in points, he's been Houdini. He's been a disappearing act. Fournier's averaging 12 points per game, shooting 40% from the field,
like
and 35% from the three. And he really hasn't done anything since opening night. He's been a huge disappointment for me.
Sorry.
Look at him. Look at him. He's so sad.
I'm sorry.
I will say this. Reggie Bullock is actually negative for the Mavericks. So Reggie Bullock hasn't been playing.
Nah, that was just a jab.
It was.
Julius Randle, he looks like someone. He looks like the 2019 version of himself and the 2020 version. Yeah. He looks like the 2019 and 2020 version of himself combined. You know, the All NBA versus the complete scrub. Right now, he's somewhere in the middle. And before the season, I thought Randall's points were going to go down. He's shooting 41% from the field, 35% from three. That efficiency has gone down too. And RJ Barrett shooting 15 points, averaging 15 a game, 6 rebounds, shooting 40% from the field and 32% from three. Before I get into the starters and completely bash them, because I'm going to do it, we need to have a lineup change. Emmanuel Quickly needs to start. That's one. He needs to start
Fournier.
Over Kemba.
Oh, okay.
He needs to start over Kemba and be our point guard. At this point, he's just better than Kemba.
But why
it's
not start
obvious.
Derrick Rose? I understand.
No, you want to keep that consistency.
No, he's better
bench.
on the bench. He's better on the bench.
But
yeah, he's better on the bench. And frankly, I'm out on Kemba. Look, I think the Knicks, Tom Thibodeau, they should give him 10 to 15 more games. Mm-hmm. If things don't improve, you trade him if you even can, or you cut him. Yeah. Because at this point, I don't even want to see Kemba on the team because he brings no defense. I want Quickly to start, and I want us to call up Deuce McBride and have Deuce McBride come off the bench, because if one thing's for certain, Deuce McBride is going to play elite defense. I mean, in college versus Cade Cunningham, he was amazing on him defensively. So I want the bench to be Deuce McBride, D. Rose, Burks, Obi, and Gibson or Noel. And I don't want Kemba on the roster. If he keeps playing like this in 15 more games, look, 30 games in, we've seen what you can do. That's almost halfway through the season. You're just not a fit for our culture. And I hate to say that because this is his homecoming, but it's not Kanye West's homecoming, that's for sure.
Not at all.
You know, it's not that. That's for sure. And here's another thing. But you know, I know everybody's bashing Fournier and Randall. But to me, I think Fournier, he's been disappointing, but he's been what we thought he would be. And the fact that he's been a little bit worse, but we know he's a floor space. We know he's not a good defender. And it just sucks that before the season, Knicks fans, we're a passionate bunch, and we like to overreact to things. So we thought Kemba and Fournier was a better offseason than Lonzo and DeMar. I just look at DeMar and be like, and I just think, what if he was on the Knicks, man? Like, DeMar would have just been so amazing for us.
This is interesting.
But Fournier...
This is interesting.
Fournier, he's getting paid a lot. We know he's not that great. It's whatever. Julius Randle's been disappointing, but I don't want to just talk about Julius Randle. I want to talk about RJ right now. Before the season, I said it. I don't think RJ is going to have a breakout season in the sense that I thought he was going to have. And he had a stretch where he was playing really well, and Drew came on the show, and he was like, man, that RJ breakout thing, it looks like, you should have stayed true to that. And in my head, I was just like, I was hesitant because I was like, okay, let's see if he keeps on doing this.
Yeah.
I think Knicks fans are hoping that RJ Barrett can become something that he's not. And I don't think he's a star player. I don't think he's a superstar player. Oof. I don't think he can be the second, third best player on a championship team. And in the offseason, when that dude from the Athletics, Seth Partnoy, made his list of players better than RJ, some of them I still disagree with, but the one that stood out was Caruso. You look at what Caruso's doing on Chicago. You look at the role that he's playing. He is better than RJ Barrett. Caruso is better than RJ Barrett. The numbers don't show it. The box numbers don't show it.
But you watched him play.
Alex Caruso can go on any team and find his role. RJ Barrett, would the Bulls right now trade Caruso for RJ Barrett? I don't think they would, because Caruso gives them elite defense. He pushes the pace in transition on the offensive side of the ball, and he can space the floor and is consistent. RJ Barrett just doesn't have a solidified role in the NBA, and he's a weird fit. And that's also my gripe with Julius Randle, because Julius Randle, the reason why this lineup is not working is because Randle last year was a heavy ISO player. Now when you have Fournier and Kemba, and that's taken away from Randle, we see that he doesn't look that good because Randle can't fit with other players. That's why, to me, I never thought Randle can be the first, second, even third best player on a championship team, because his game style, the way he plays, it just can't fit with other players. He's a very ISO-centric player. But back to RJ Barrett. I just don't know what his role is, right? Like, he's not a creator. He's not a playmaker. He's not a good ISO scorer. He's not good in the pick and roll. He can't really handle the ball. And all he can really do is slash and score in transition. Yeah. If he's not scoring in transition, you're going to see an 8-point game from RJ. The only reason why he has those big games, like we saw on the opening night versus the Celtics, his points in the second half were mostly in transition. If he's not scoring in transition, he's really not even on offense out there. Defenders are still leaving him wide open. Even though RJ hit 40% of his threes last year, defenders are still like, we still don't care. We still don't trust your shot. Yeah. And so far, he hasn't been living up to his 40% billing from last season. And I know last season he started off slow as well, but it's something to be concerned about. When we look at players in the NBA that have a solidified role, when you talk about guards, scoring guards, combo guards, pure point guards, lockdown defenders. You have the Cole Anthony types, the LaMelos who can do everything, the Chris Paul types. Then you have the Pat Bev types, the Caruso types. When you look at wing players, point forward, it's like a Joe Ingles, Josh Giddey type of player. LeBron, point forward, we know because he's an all-around player, though. 3-and-D, Vassell, Mikal Bridges, those type of guys. What is RJ? He's not a 3-and-D player. He's not a bucket getter. He's not a bona fide bucket. You can't give RJ the ball and say create something. You can't. He doesn't have a solidified role in the NBA, and it's because he has a weird skill set. And that's why I'm worried about RJ, and Knicks fans are hoping that he can become this star player, but I don't think that's in the cards for him. My career comparison for RJ is Harrison Barnes, and that's a nice career. Harrison Barnes is a nice player. But RJ, Harrison Barnes, the third overall pick, if Knicks fans hear me say that I think his career comp is,
they're gonna hear you.
It's Harrison Barnes, they're going to be like, you're crazy, you're ridiculous. Have you seen RJ? He's only 21. But it's true. And the difference with Harrison Barnes is that he actually has a solidified role on a team. He with the Warriors,
3-and-D.
Best regular season team of all time with Harrison Barnes. He had a role on that team. RJ is still struggling to find his role. I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know if that's his skill set, but that's just how I feel about RJ Barrett right now. I see his career being anywhere from a 14 to 19 point per game scorer. If maybe a couple times in his career he goes to a horrible team like Dallas when Harrison Barnes went there. He can average 20, but he is what he is. And I don't think he's a star player. I don't think he can be one of the best players on a championship team. He has a weird skill set. And the Knicks kind of shot themselves in the foot by winning a lot last year, because in this draft, we could have gotten a Scotty Barnes, a Cade Cunningham, and Evan Mobley and changed our franchise around. And I feel like us being competitive last year really messed us up because we didn't get another bona fide star. When you look at the players on the Knicks, Julius Randle, what team wants Julius Randle? No team wants Julius Randle. Teams that are looking to add one more player to get over the hump don't want him. A prime example, the Boston Celtics. We know they're like one or two players away. That one or two players isn't Julius Randle. They don't. I don't even think they would think about trading for Julius Randle at all. RJ Barrett, who really, what's his trade value? Kemba has no trade value. Fournier has no trade value. Mitch has some trade value. Quickly has trade value, but we wouldn't trade Quickly. Obi, who really has trade value on the Knicks that we can trade for a star player? I can't really think of one.
It'd be a lot of pieces to get a star.
So
player.
for us to really get over the hump, we need to draft well, and we have been drafting well. But we also needed to draft one of those top players in the draft. And last year, we frankly missed out on it because we were competitive, and I'd rather want that 4th seed. But I was hoping RJ would be better. And Knicks fans, they love RJ, so they're not holding him accountable. But he's in year 3. I don't care about the contract Fournier and Randle are getting. At some point, you have to expect a lot from a player that's playing 30-plus minutes per game. Yep. That was a 3rd overall pick that you expected to be a star. We look at Zion. He's a superstar. We look at Ja. He's a superstar. We look at RJ. What is he? We look at the 4th overall pick, Darius Garland. He's going to be a star. And people always say this is a wing league. Yeah, only if you have a superstar wing, because a point guard is more important to a team than a good wing player. I'd rather have a De'Aaron Fox. I'd rather have Darius Garland than an RJ Barrett or a Harrison Barnes. I'd rather have that. And we worked out Darius Garland late. Before that draft, there were rumors of us taking him, but we ultimately didn't take him. But
it wasn't a bad pick.
It wasn't a bad pick, but Darius Garland, he looks like he's going to be a star.
You're right.
And run that point guard position. I just don't know what RJ's role is.
Because you have to think at the time, let's say you guys do take Darius Garland. Knicks fans are going crazy. They're not going to be happy with that. Obviously, RJ Barrett was the number 1 prospect coming out of high school, going into college over Zion Williamson.
Bing.
Yeah.
But we've seen before that doesn't even matter. If you look at the past 10 years, players that have been the best player in their high school class.
I'm just talking in terms of like fans and just people that just
Isaiah Stewart was a top 3 player in his high school class.
That's that's crazy.
It's also the school you go to. He went to IMG, so that plays and RJ went to Montverde.
Yeah,
we're facing the Rockets, I think, today, and after we play them, we're playing the Bulls, the Lakers, the Suns, the Hawks.
It gets hard for you guys.
It's getting tough.
We're still in that stretch.
We have to.
Y'all have been doing.
We have to get out these wins. I don't know if you guys want to give your take on the Knicks, because I feel like I kind of
you did.
I kind of said everything. But if you guys have any pushback over what I said, you guys can say it right now.
The only pushback I have, because for the most part, you said everything.
Yeah,
I didn't need to say much. I'm just laughing at this point. Your bench is really good, though. That's the one bright spot. Well, one thing I can say, though, with RJ Barrett, I feel like you're being a little too hard. I feel like you are being just a little bit too hard. And the reason why, I'm going to use a few examples. Jimmy Butler, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. Wings take time. Wings take a little bit of time in the league because they're the guy that essentially is the do-it-all guy for you. They're the guy who defends, who can hit the 3-ball, who can go get a bucket, who has a playmaking in him, who rebounds. So they're the guys that have to understand every position because they're the guy that essentially does it all for you. I think right now, in this position, I think it's too early to say RJ can't be a star, but I can definitely see why you say, his game is very, very, very stiff and weird. Like it's just a weird. It's I don't know how to explain his game, but it's weird. He does only get his buckets in transition. His defense has lapsed a little bit this year. It's taken a step back. But I think it's still a little bit too early because he's only 21 years old. And guys, wings essentially take a long time to develop, and some of them don't get it going until about year 4, year 5.
Go ahead, man.
I'll be the first one to say that I have a tendency to overreact to things, but for the most part, when I overreact, it's always on the basis of a lot of hard facts. And when we look at that 2019 draft class that RJ Barrett was selected in, we took him over guys like Garland, over DeAndre Hunter. I think he's better than Hunter, but it's really a toss-up. It's
close now.
Because Hunter can actually play a solidified role. And Tyler Hero. I tweeted it the other day. Knicks fans are the only fan base that thinks RJ's better than Hero. It's not even close. Tyler Hero as a rookie was a pivotal part to a team making a championship. In his second season, yeah, he dropped off. He wasn't good in the playoffs. But all RJ did in his second season was closing up the gap between him and Hero. But then right now in the third years, Tyler Hero, whether he's off the bench, whether he's starting, he's giving you 20 and 6 every single night and rebounding the ball very well. I told my cousin this last year because off the air, I've been saying Hero's better than RJ. It's just I have to keep my Knicks fandom up. I got to believe in my players.
I respect it.
But off camera, I've been telling my cousin this for the last year. Hero is better than RJ. When you look at Hero's game versus RJ, Hero is a bona fide scorer, a shot creator, a playmaker. Offensively, he's just better. RJ can't create. He is stiff as a stick. He is really stiff. He doesn't handle the ball very well. The only thing you can say about the Hero versus RJ debate is that RJ's a better defender. And even then, am I taking RJ's defense over what Hero gives me on offense?
No way.
Absolutely not.
No.
Hero is a prime time performer. I just think it's unacceptable. RJ the other night played 20 plus minutes and had 2 points. That's just unacceptable.
No, I agree.
And he has games where he goes 8 for 13 and scores 20. And then he has games where he goes 1 for 9, 2 for 13, 4 for 15. And he's just inefficient. He has to be more stable as a player before I can put him with Hero. Because Hero, every single night, you know what it is.
He's a dog.
Every single night.
Only thing I'll say is why I am kind of giving RJ a little bit more of some leeway is because his entire basketball career, probably his entire life, he's been the primary guy on every team that he's been on. Even on Duke, obviously he had Zion as a counterpart on that team, but he still felt confident enough to take last-second shots. He was put in that position to still be a primary ball handler. On the Knicks, really, the Knicks don't look at him as that primary guy, and for obvious reasons. Obviously, Julius Randle last season was your guy last year. Even in the postseason, D Rose had more responsibility than he has, and I'm sure it's been difficult for him to handle that and adjust to the Knicks role whatever role that the Knicks are trying to give him. I think that it's going to be a little bit it's going to take a little bit of time for RJ to realize, okay, I'm not the guy that I once was on Duke in high school. I'm not that in the NBA, and it's going to take some time for him to adjust to that role, and I think he will find that role. It's just a mental battle right now of finding himself in the NBA.
But even then, on Duke, him having the ball that much is probably a mistake. Because
he won some games for them, but you're right.
He did, but I mean, it was clear as day that whenever Zion touched the ball, good things happened. And they didn't give Zion the ball.
Yeah, that was that's definitely a mistake because obviously Zion is leaps and bounds better than RJ, and that's just a firm fact. I'm just saying RJ really has never experienced a life or any kind of any type of time in his basketball career where he wasn't the dude.
If you are good enough, you transcend your role.
I agree.
Ja Morant went to Memphis. He was good enough to say, "This is my team from day one." Zion was good enough to say, "This is my team from day one." Darius Garland was good enough to say, "I'm the point guard. I'm running the show. I'm going to have the ball." There's no doubt. Tyler Hero, I'm good enough to be a primetime player.
Yeah.
He's doing his thing. RJ, maybe, I don't think it's a confidence issue because he has a lot of confidence. He just hasn't made a statement.
You guys bringing in Kemba, bringing in Fournier are two players that are obviously taking away opportunities from RJ. And I'm sure that probably I wouldn't say it killed his confidence, but because obviously he's had moments where he has good games, but it's just more players that are just taking chances away from RJ.
This is the thing.
Like if it was an RJ, Julius Randle type 1-2, maybe.
This is the thing. I think that too many times we look at that in his rookie season, the gripe,
because last year he was good.
His rookie season, the RJ defenders were like worst spacing in the league. Yeah, well, I saw Zion last year with the worst spacing have a historic second year.
It's Zion. We can't.
I know it's Zion. It's Zion, but I mean, this guy's a third overall pick.
That's fair.
You know, you should at least perform at an all-star level in your third year. And his second season, there's a little bit more spacing, but not that great. This year, it was, now RJ has spacing. Year 3 RJ. You haven't seen it. You just haven't seen it.
I mean, spacing to a degree, it's like the two players that you brought in that would bring spacing. Listen, you guys have had a rough November. The last 7 games, you have Fournier averaging 7 points per game, 37 field goal percentage. You got
People
Kemba,
are still
9 points per game.
not going to leave Fournier open, though.
No, they're definitely.
So the spacing is still
they're
there.
leaving RJ open.
Fair enough, but it's not like these guys are helping him out by making shots. These guys are being very inefficient and not fulfilling the role that they were brought in for.
Your argument is spacing. Even if a shooter isn't hitting shots, you're still not going to. The spacing is still going to be there because they're not going to leave him open.
Oh, I agree with that.
So RJ still has the opportunity to do things. The problem is he's not skilled enough to be able to do that at the moment.
Definitely, I agree.
So, yeah, that's my gripe with RJ right now. I hope he picks it up. And I would be happily wrong about him.
Bing bong.
But for right now, I just have a gut feeling about RJ and what he's going to be and what I think he's not.
Yeah.
And I think the entire fan base is hoping that he can be the savior of the team because he was our highest draft pick in the last couple of years. So he has high expectations. I just don't know if he's going to be what we all think he's going to be or what a lot of the Knicks fans think he's going to be. And what makes it all worse is that I look at the Dallas Mavericks right now. And Kristaps Porzingis is averaging 20 and 8. And the NBA is such a year-to-year thing for the most part. In some instances. In the Julius Randle's first year with the Knicks, everybody's like, oh, man, look, the Knicks really gave up KP and got Randle. Second season, Randle All-NBA. Oh, look at the Mavericks. They're a laughingstock. Oh, look what they gave up for KP and all this stuff. Then in the third year, it looks like KP is closing up the gap between him and Randle. And it's like, wow, KP looks great again. And Dallas looks great. They are 9-5, but their best wins have come against the Nuggets and Celtics.
Yep.
Frank Ntilikina is starting to solidify a role with this team, shooting 40% from the three-point line, playing excellent defense. Their other wins have come against the Spurs, Pelicans, Rockets, and Kings. So not great wins. They're minus 1.2 in net rating, the 20th in the NBA, 18th in offensive rating, 17th in defensive rating, and 12th in opponents' points per game. Do you think the Mavericks can sustain this? Because I know before the season, at least I was very low on the Mavericks. I didn't think they were going to be that good. So far, they have been better than I expected they were going to be. I think Riv thought the same thing. I'm not sure what you thought. I kind of forgot what you thought about the Mavericks. But we all had them making the playoffs. We just thought they weren't going to be a top 6 seed in the playoffs. At least I didn't. So are the Mavericks proving us wrong so far? Do you think they can continue to prove us wrong?
Yeah, they're definitely, for me personally, they're proving me wrong. You know, I thought they would be an 8th, 7th seed team. You know, I guess the thing, I think what's triggering me the most about why they've been so successful is when Luka goes to the bench, the drop-off isn't what it was before. You know, I think Jalen Brunson being that guy and emerging into that guy, I think that's definitely helped him. Kristaps Porzingis, he's looked good the last 5 games. He's had a more defined role. And the team just looks more, you know, they're 18th to offensive rating, 17th to defensive rating. So they've been middle of the pack on offense and defense. They've just been middle of the pack, and they've been able to grind out and scratch out some wins. A lot of it is Luka magic, and then, you know, the team just helping them out. I think this team can keep it going. You know, playing like this, middle of the pack, you know, we still have to wait and see. The Lakers, they've been unhealthy. Tonight they got Phoenix. Luka's doubtful. You know, we don't know. Then they got back-to-back games in Los Angeles against the Clippers. You know, the Clippers have been tough. Then they got Washington, then Cleveland, then the Pelicans twice. So they got some hard games. It's really, you know, wins against the Pelicans, against the Spurs, wins against the Kings. Their schedule has been okay for the most part. I think keeping it, if they're going to continue this pace, I think we have to see just a little bit more from Luka. That defense has to step up a little bit. You know, middle of the pack can only get you so far, especially when the Lakers, LeBron's eventually going to come back. You know, the Clippers are still good. Memphis is good. Phoenix is good. Jamal Murray eventually is going to come back. You know, Denver, even without Jamal Murray, Denver's good. I believe MPJ is going to pick it up eventually. So Utah is still good. So it's going to be – we're getting into that part of the season where the separation is going to start to happen. And I think Dallas isn't going to separate themselves, but I don't think they're going to fall off. They're probably going to stay within their rights of where they are.
So right now, what are they, the 4th seed in the West right now, correct? I'm almost positive last I checked. But So I went back and to make sure that I wasn't about to lie to you guys. I went to my preseason rankings and I had Dallas at 6. So that top 6, I had them exactly at 6. And it was mostly based off of Luka Doncic being a top 5 at his best player in the NBA. Obviously, Luka has the capabilities of one day being potentially the best player in the NBA, and he's been extremely solid for them, just being Luka Doncic, averaging around 25, his 8 and 7. He's Luka Doncic. Obviously, he's amazing. The question mark was going to be the extracurriculars of the team. Obviously, KP. Obviously, Tim Hardaway Jr. We didn't see Jalen Brunson really taking this leap, this much of a leap going into this season. Obviously, he's been a huge contributor for them as well. But obviously, Kristaps Porzingis is what's allowing this team to gather some wins. Like you mentioned, their only really impressive wins were the Nuggets and the Celtics. But I'll give them credit for that Nuggets win because they got smoked by them the first time they met up. And it was nice to see them bounce back and get that win. Earlier in the season, I was like, I'm not so sure about the Mavs because the schedule was that they had, it was relatively easy. But they're putting up good numbers. 9-5 record this early in the season is obviously good to see. But mostly Kristaps Porzingis having the role that he is having this early in the season, at least. I want to see it sustained for the rest of the year. Because when we saw them at their best that first year together in the bubble against the Clippers, what made them so successful? It was Kristaps Porzingis. As great as Luka is, obviously, he's their best player. You need that second option to relieve some pressure off of Doncic. And KP was doing that. He gets hurt. The Mavericks really don't look the same. And it was understandable. The next season after that, KP and Luka had some issues, really couldn't get it going because Luka was being a little bit too ball dominant. But this season, we're seeing him actually trust KP. And so I think it is sustainable. I just think that we need to be a little bit more, I wouldn't say we need to be. I just think that they need to be more consistent with this game plan that they have right now. Continue to feed KP. Obviously, let Luka be Luka, but you need that second option. You want to have success, and I think that that's what they'll do.
The Mavericks have been proving me wrong. They have been surprising me so far. And they're another thing that I would gladly be wrong about them. Luka Doncic is one of my favorite players in the NBA. When Harden retires, he's going to be my favorite player in the NBA by far. I'm a Luka fanatic. I love Luka Doncic. He's one of my favorite players. Jalen Brunson has been doing this for a while. It's just now getting recognized, but last year I made a film analysis on Jalen Brunson because part of the reason why Dallas doesn't drop off that much, even when Luka is off the court, is because of their guard play. And Jalen Brunson last year, per 36, was averaging like 16 and 6 or 16 and 7, somewhere around there. He was just exceptional. This year, when he got the chance to start some games, he really showed out. And even last year when he started, he was amazing.
Definitely.
We know what Luka is. He's giving you 25 a game this year, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. He could be a bit more efficient, but Luka has been amazing like always. KP, they are playing him through the paint much more this year. He's getting much more post touches. I think Jason Kidd has kind of brought in a different dimension to what they want to do, both offensively and defensively. And he was somebody that when he got hired as a coach, I wasn't that high on, but I'll be happily wrong about him as well because he's been doing a solid job thus far. Jalen Brunson, 15 and 5, 50% from the field, 35% from 3. His ability to finish at the basket, to blow by defenders, is really great. And this guy right now is relegated to a bench role, but he's a starting point guard. There's no doubt. And he is an above average starting point guard. He is a goddamn good player. At Villanova, he was that as well. I mean, at Villanova, he was a dog. And Tim Hardaway Jr. averaging 15. Ntilikina is finding his role there. Versus the Nuggets, I was watching that game, and Jason Kidd, he went with the small ball lineup in the fourth that really made a run. I think they went on a 17-9 run with the small ball lineup. It featured Jalen Brunson, Hardaway Jr., Finney Smith, Reggie Bullock, and it might have been Dwight Powell. I'm not really sure if it was him. I forgot who the fifth player was, but they're just generating a lot of good shots, a lot of three-point shots, and this team has the spacing to fit around Luka.
Oh, for sure.
If KP can stay healthy and be what we thought he was going to be when he went to Dallas, then this is a team that is scary because Luka, we know he's a primetime performer. KP, these past playoffs didn't perform his best, but in the bubble, he was flat out amazing.
Excellent.
So if they have KP playing at that level, the sky is the limit for this team. And look, I like Dallas. I like Dallas a lot. I wasn't high on them coming into the season because in free agency, they didn't do anything. It was Reggie Bullock, Ntilikina, and who else, They really didn't do anything. But they are the Dallas Knicks right now. They have a lot of our players, Hardaway Jr., Ntilikina, Reggie Bullock, Kristaps. This is the Trey Burke. This is the Dallas Knicks right now, and they're playing really great, and they have been proven us wrong. There's no doubt.
It was just one thing to consider was that you have Luka. With that alone, that should be enough to make you at least somewhat successful. Obviously, the West is difficult, and there's a lot of talent in the West. But Luka is a rare breed. He's that type of player that can impact the game so much that it's going to result in wins and it's going to make them a higher seed in the West. So that's why I wasn't overreacting to them not making enough moves, because ultimately, as long as you have Luka, and with the free agency class, I keep mentioning next season, they're going to be in play with that one. They're going to want to spend more money.
They don't have their pick.
No, I'm saying in terms of spending money next season. I don't care about the draft for the Mavs. All good, man. But you have Luka Doncic and you have Kristaps Porzingis. As long as you could have made that work, you didn't really need to go out and spend money needlessly. Would DeMar DeRozan have been nice? 100%.
I don't know. I think if they would have gotten a Kyle Lowry or DeRozan, it takes them over the top.
I think DeRozan, I agree with that for sure. But I don't think they needed Kyle Lowry as much as you would have loved DeMar DeRozan, obviously given his offensive play this far into the season, the success that the Bulls have had. But I think that it'll all be worth it if, one, they have playoff success this season, and two, if they go out next season, they actually make a big splash.
I don't know. DeMar to Dallas, I don't know if he would have played at the same level because Luka's so ball dominant. I don't know.
They don't play at a high tempo.
Yeah,
Chicago plays at a very high tempo.
Up and down.
That's true.
We move the ball.
That's true, and
I think Lowry would have been more better for Dallas.
Lowry would have solidified. Lowry would have gave them.
But then what happens with Jalen Brunson?
He's off the bench right now.
No, for sure. But then what would the lineup be? You obviously have to start Lowry.
You start Luka, then you start Hardaway Jr.
For sure, you have to.
Finney-Smith.
And then Dwight Powell or KP. Right now, it's Dwight Powell and KP at the 4 and 5.
Yeah. Then I feel like we don't see that emergence from Jalen Brunson that we're seeing
still get
this
it.
season.
And then you can play both of them in the backcourt.
I mean, last year
he's up 4 points from last year.
You can play. Brunson is an inch shorter than Tyler Herro. You can play both of them in the backcourt, like Lowry and Brunson, and both of them play good defense. Mm-hmm. So, and both of them move the ball, both of them can shoot, and they're playmakers. So, having two playmakers in the backcourt along with Luka,
this is the thing. This is why I think people are now catching up to what Jalen Brunson is doing. But last year, he averaged 13. He's playing 5 more minutes this season, but he averaged 13 last season. Shot 52% from the field and 40% from 3.
Yeah, he was a solid ball player last year.
I don't think he's playing I don't think he's playing better this season.
He's just getting more.
He's just getting more minutes.
But that's exactly
and he got
what I'm
a chance to start.
You would have brought in Lowry,
but he's not starting right now though. He would have even if Lowry went to Dallas, Brunson would have played 25 to 30 minutes a game.
Yeah, but then I don't think that he has the impact that he's obviously having this season.
So what's the difference between Lowry and Herro?
Obviously, Herro scores more.
No, Herro's coming off the bench right now.
I'm saying Herro is coming off the bench. So
I understand what you're
what's
saying.
the difference between Lowry taking away opportunities from Herro versus Brunson?
But isn't Herro taking minutes away from Duncan Robinson?
No.
Isn't Duncan Robinson the 2?
Duncan Robinson starts.
And yeah, but that's exactly what I'm saying. No, Tyler Herro is definitely better than Duncan.
Herro still
Herro plays the point guard.
Lowry doesn't take a lot of shots in Miami. So Herro still gets his same things. Robinson still gets Lowry just plays the point guard.
And he plays a
that's what he does.
Role. Okay. Fair enough. It's just I don't know. It's a tough one for me.
I was looking at stats in Minnesota. They actually have one of the better net ratings when they have this lineup on the floor. Pat Bev, Russell, Anthony Edwards, Vanderbilt, and Cat.
That's a good lineup.
Because of D'Lo's injuries and Pat Bev getting suspended, they haven't been out there. But when they have been,
scary hours.
They lost to Phoenix by 2 points the other night.
I watched it. They blew it.
They just Yeah, they did blow it. They just dominated San Antonio, which they've been competitive this season. I'm not sleeping on Minnesota. Don't sleep on Minnesota. They are coming.
You can't sleep on Minnesota.
They are coming.
Coming where?
I'm saying you can't sleep on them.
If they stay healthy.
Coming where?
With D'Lo, Pat Bev, Jay Vando.
Listen, I think they'll be a play-in team.
Look, Edwards just has to be more efficient. I think he just needs to solidify that role. And we're going to talk about a potential Suns and Timberwolves trade, but before that, we're going to talk about a potential way for you to make some money.
Amen.
An NHL season is underway, in DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has an unbelievable offer to celebrate the greatest sport on ice. New customers can bet just $1 on any NHL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. Doesn't matter if it's a one-time clap or a deft deflection. However they light the lamp, you win. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, DraftKings won't leave you empty-handed. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TBPN. Throw down $1 on any NHL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. This week, one puck in the net nets you a big win with promo code TBPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL.
Listen, last time I said throw your money on the Rangers. We've been averaging around like 2-3 goals a game. It was dicey. They scored. Keep it up. Keep putting your money on the Rangers. We got postponed on Saturday. We play Sunday. We're playing against the Sabre. They're not that great of a team. We've been hot. Throw that $1 on the Rangers. See what happens.
Every single time I get the chance to talk to the audience in a honest and genuine way, not saying the sports takes aren't honest, because they are, but I'm talking about like real life conversation. We know sports is just sports for the most part. I get emotional. I am a Cancer, even though I'm not. I don't believe in zodiac signs too much, but
I know, bro.
Yeah.
We got you.
It's still surreal to me how we are sponsored by DraftKings, and we had the Basketball Podcast Network reach out to us to join their network as an affiliate, and we still own everything. And we're at a position right now that we're making some okay money from this.
No doubt.
Some okay money where Riv doesn't have to work as much hours as he's working. I mean, you just put in your 2 weeks notice, right?
She talking about some. All right, I just need you to work like these last 2 weeks, 80, and then you're done. I was like, cool.
You've been putting in a lot of time, man. Shout out to you, bro.
Yeah, so now Riv has more time. Drew is still in nursing school. I'm actually thinking about not even going to college next semester because I want to kind of be all in on this. I'm still up in the air about it. Seton Hall hasn't been what I thought it was going to be when I first got there, due to a lot of situations. But it is what it is. I'm just happy we're doing this right now because
me too, bro.
I'd rather be doing this than being a broadcaster at Seton Hall or doing that, because having people that listen to our show, a loyal fan base, it's just really been awesome. It's been really surreal, and I think this is just the beginning for us. And, I was listening to a Drake interview one time, and he was talking about how he doesn't look back at his journey. Because he's always looking forward to things. And I think I do that a lot. Like, I rarely, if we get an email about the downloads we had this past week, I see that in the moment. I'm really happy, but then I move on. I'm not really stuck in the past about, we did this, that. I'm just always moving on. And because I'm doing that, I don't get to appreciate I don't get to appreciate the current moment as much as I should. But I feel like when it's all said and done, I will look back on the moments and be like, that was really awesome. Yeah, man. Yeah. Like Drake, he just kept going, and then, he's
the greatest ever.
Yeah, he's the greatest ever in the Grammy stage. He's like looking back at it. I see all that I've accomplished, but I just love that this was built from the ground up.
Literally.
We start. Our first year doing the podcast, we didn't have 1,000 subscribers. We would get 14 views on a YouTube video, and we would still post like we were getting thousands. On TikTok, we didn't use TikTok. On Instagram, on Instagram, we're almost at 2,000 followers. On TikTok, we're at 42,000. On YouTube, we're gonna get to 10,000. This past week, we were the 33rd best basketball podcast in the United States of America in terms of rankings. And just having all that, it's like we've reached that level, and we're like, wow, that's dope. And
we want more.
We want more, but it's also crazy to think about all the people that look at what we're doing and they're like, man, we wish we could get to their level, and we're over here like we wish we could get to that level.
We want more and more and more.
I feel like we're so nonchalant about it now at this point. We're just like, oh, okay, yeah. We just got to keep going, keep pushing.
That's
like,
it.
It's cool.
And that's the thing about it, because
you can't get caught up.
Yeah, don't get caught up and keep pushing for more. Like, that's really what it is. But this started from nothing. So anybody out there that's listening,
literally,
if you really put in the work, you can do it. It takes luck is involved, of course, but patience, persistence, and having a plan, you can do anything. And that goes for anything in life, whether it's a podcast, doing YouTube, job, your career. It really is for anything. And I wanted to say that because I think we're at a point now where it's kind of getting real for us.
Definitely.
In terms of like, this can be something legit and real.
For real, man. Well said.
Happy Thanksgiving.
we gotta host a Friendsgiving.
That'd be lit.
That would be lit.
That would be
I heard that Kyle Anderson, because Kyle Anderson is from Jersey. He actually lives his grandparents live in Fairview, but he grew up in Fairview, which is it's like by Cliffside Park. And for Thanksgiving, he's giving away 1 free turkey per family.
That's
really?
Dope. Yeah.
That's really cool of him.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, if we have Friendsgiving, what we eating?
Mac and cheese, turkey, some yams.
You got to have at least a slice of turkey.
I don't eat mac and cheese.
Why not?
What do you mean, why not? I don't like it.
You don't like mac and cheese?
Nah, I don't like the texture.
You need what, McDonald's?
No,
why don't you like the texture?
Chickens.
It's too soft. It's just nasty. I like yams.
You like it hard?
I don't.
When I go to Thanksgiving in my house, I'll get bread, like the biscuits. I'll get yams, chicken,
the Pillsbury
rice,
biscuits,
the Jamaican rolls.
Okay.
And that's what I'll eat. I'll eat
I
like
need
a
to come
big
to your
plate
crib
of
for
yams.
Thanksgiving.
No, you don't.
Now, yams not it for me.
I love yams.
Okay.
And then cabbage. I like cabbage. Collard greens. I like collard greens, but I don't.
You know what? I just found out that Brussels sprouts makes you shit.
Yeah, man. But
I'm not surprised. They look like they would do something.
I ate Brussels sprouts because I ordered Smash Burger and I had like the roasted Brussels sprouts. And I ate a couple and I'm like,
bro, was in the bathroom.
I ate a couple. I went outside to sit on my porch for a little bit and I was just chilling. And then my stomach started to bubble up and I was like, oh my God. And I was like, okay, I'm going to wait like a couple minutes before I actually need to go to the bathroom. And I was in the middle of doing something and I had to finish what I was doing. But once I finished, I ran back inside. I could feel a slither coming out my ass. No. And I'm like, damn. Then it was one of those. Then I reached the toilet and I'm like, I feel like those are the best. Those are the best shits though.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? Look, we're getting into a shit conversation, but that is not a lie. When you're like, oh, the last second shot clock cheese, you just get to the toilet,
wait just until it really hits the near point.
Like you haven't even sat down, you're just letting it all go.
You don't even touch your phone. You just put your head down and just go. Like those are the best ones.
Have you ever sharted?
No. Probably when I was younger, but as a man, an adult, no.
As a teenager?
Yeah, definitely.
You sharted before?
Yeah. Remember when I used to live over there in Hackensack, like on South Hackensack? So you probably don't.
I don't. Yeah, that's why I just keep going with
But I used to live over there by Jackson Avenue, and when I used to live over there, we was going to the middle school, and I went to the home, and I forgot my key in the house, and my mother and my brother was going to Catholic school, so she had to go pick him up. I was standing outside for like 15 minutes, bro, and like the neighbors weren't home, so because I have a spare key, but I have to get in the crib first.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, this shit about to come out, bro. I could just feel. I was trying to sit down. You know how we try to sit down to make sure that the shit goes back up. It didn't work, so I fake sharted. And as I sharted, my mom pulled up right when I sharted.
No.
I was like, damn. And she was like, what's that smell? And I was like, nothing. Just come on, let's go upstairs.
What's your sharted story?
Oh, it's pretty ugly. So we were coming home from Florida, or not, excuse me. We were in Disney, excuse me. We were going home, leaving Disney. And it's like a 2-hour ride back to where we were staying. So we were in Palm Coast. That's where my grandfather used to live. But we're coming from Orlando, so it was a drive. And we had Unos, and that Unos just was, it was doing something crazy to me. My stomach was just doing backflips. It was just horrible. And I'm in pain, and I'm talking to my pops, and I tell him, like, yo, you got, like, please get out. He's like, we're only 15 minutes away. Can you hold it? And I wish he never said that to me because it just gave me, like, the confidence. All right, 15 minutes, I could do it. We passed the exit. It just only gets worse. I tell him pull over. Like no sooner than 30 seconds, I tell him pull over. He's like, we're about to be home. Don't worry. I tell him pull over. It was like one of those that I had to like hunch up and like clench my cheek so I didn't shit myself. Bro, it was like I go and I clench and I just feel it just start to come out of me. I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. He stops the car and like I go to step out, but the car's still moving, so my foot just drags back. I almost get yanked out of the car. He finally stops. I pull over. I'm on the side of the highway, just letting it all go, bro. Bro, it was and this is I was a teenager, so it wasn't like I was like 7, 8 years old. Yeah. Bro, I was like 15 years old, and I straight up was
but you know what shart it is, right?
Oh, you shit a little bit, like you fart and you shit.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Them shits is nasty.
I had a funny sharted story. So I was talking to my dad one time. We was in the living room, and we're just laughing. We're having a good time. We're telling stories, and my dad tells this joke, and it was one of those like corny dad jokes, but it was funny. For some reason, it hit. And before that time, I didn't have to go to the bathroom. I was just having a regular conversation. He tells a joke, I laugh, and as soon as I laugh, I can feel a sensation going down my chest, down to my butt, and I just shit. And I'm like, ha ha, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, like when you shart, you just sit there like looking around like.
My dad's telling the joke, I laugh, and I'm laughing, and then as soon as I shart, I look at my dad, and I'm like. And he's just like, what happened? I'm like, I just shit myself. I was like, your joke was that funny that I shit myself.
Yeah, that's comedy, bro.
Those be the scariest ones where you just like, all right, I just gotta rip ass real fast. You rip ass and then you're just like, oh my God, I really just shit myself.
You ever are in class and you just hope that
I don't rip ass in class, thank God.
But you don't even silent fart in class?
No. I hate people that rip ass in class. I'm just like, come on, yo. Like, I'm here. I 100% have to go to the bathroom and rip ass. But I'm here champing it through because I want to learn. I'm holding it in. And you have no decency to do that.
You know what's funny, though, is that, you know, sometimes when you're in a public place, when you are in a public place and you need to fart, you make sure that it comes out silently, right?
Of course.
You like, you clench your cheeks to make sure it comes out. But sometimes that little bubble makes a sound. So sometimes
this is where we went.
There are some times where I've never done it in class, but I always have anxiety that I'm gonna silent fart and it's gonna come out loud.
No, there's been moments where like we in the gym and we waiting for next and I'll rip ass and just walk away. Like
you're a demon. You're a demon.
Like it'll be mad loud. I'll just walk away and like go rip ass somewhere else. But I never stand where I fart.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, I just walk away.
When I played on Garfield, when I played basketball for their team, we were doing this like layup drill, and before practice had started, it was Thanksgiving. It was near Thanksgiving, so we had like turkey and mashed potatoes. We had a weird combination of food that really, everybody's stomach was kind of weird. And we were doing a layup line, and it was my turn. And as soon as I finished my last layup, I fart. And then my teammate, his name is Angel, funny as hell, cool ass dude. He's next. Mm-hmm. And while he's doing the layup, he's like, oh, he's like, oh my God, yo. He's coughing and shit. He was like, what's that smell, bro? What the hell? And I'm just I'm laughing my ass off. He walked into.
There's some grimy.
We walked into a realm of gas.
Now the locker room gets nasty. That's the one thing I don't miss about sports. People were gross.
So on to the next topic. We got a little bit off track there. The Phoenix Suns are on a 10-game winning streak, and they look very good. They've, on this 10-game winning streak, they haven't beaten the best teams, but they have been some great performances. They've beaten the Cavs, the Pelicans, Rockets, Hawks, Kings, Blazers, Grizzlies, Rockets, Timberwolves, and Mavs. D-Book averaging 23 a game, Ayton 16 and 12, CP3 14 and 11 almost. He's been a point god, and they have just been playing well all around. But in this segment, I want to run you guys by a potential trade that I had, because we know out of Minnesota, the Timberwolves have been more competitive as of recently, but I think if they keep playing, if they go on a losing streak, it's only a matter of time that Cat might want to ask for a trade. So if I'm Minnesota, or if I'm Phoenix, this potential trade I had. This is a potential Suns and Timberwolves trade. Let me know what you guys think of it. The Suns get Karl Anthony Towns, and the Timberwolves get DeAndre Ayton, Cam Johnson, Jalen Smith or Dario Saric, and 2 first-round picks. Are you accepting that?
Considering the fact that, you put everything into play, Minnesota, Cat acts out. Minnesota, I think you say Phoenix. If I'm Phoenix, hell yeah. If I'm Minnesota, this is probably the best offer you're going to get. And I think DeAndre Ayton being as young as Anthony Edwards, D'Lo still being young, you still maintain that you actually get better a little bit on the defensive end. You obviously lose offense, but I think DeAndre Ayton would be a great pick and roll guy for D'Angelo Russell. You bring in Cam Johnson, who I think is at this point better than Jaden McDaniels at the 4. He can space the floor, he can defend also. And then you get 2 first-round picks. So it's like, all right, you're still in it. I think Cat is a great player. I think he's a great talent. But I think in terms of impact, I think DeAndre Ayton, Cam Johnson, and you said Saric, right?
Saric or Jalen Smith.
I think they can provide, all of them together can provide what Cat provides from an impact standpoint. I think Cat is a phenomenal talent, and he's a star in this league. But I think, and with Phoenix, looking at it from a Phoenix standpoint, they're 4th in defensive rating. So they've been a lead on the defensive end this year. Cat, the effort is there on defense this year. If you're watching Minnesota's games, the effort is definitely there. He's definitely improved on the defensive end. He wants to win. He looks like it. You bring in a guy who can give you 25 and 13 on a nightly basis. This puts you in that conversation with a healthy Clippers, with a healthy Lakers, with the Warriors. Like, this thrusts you into that and ahead of Utah. This puts you in that conversation like, we can seriously win the chip. And all the narratives that people were talking about can be dead. We can beat any healthy team in this league. Now we have Chris Paul, who looks like 2013 Chris Paul. His assist-to-turnover ratio is ridiculous. He's playing defense, and he's old as hell. He has a bald spot, and he's still doing what he does. Then you got Devin Booker. Then you still got Mikal Bridges. You're still able to keep your 3-and-D guy. Jay Crowder, who's better than Cameron Johnson at this point. You were still able to keep him.
He is.
He is better, but Cam's ceiling.
They play the same role right now, so I would say Jay Crowder is better for the veteranship. He's better. The intangibles are there. Then you still keep Cam Payne, Landry Shaman off the bench, and then you bring in Cat. This is a huge. This definitely puts Phoenix up in that conversation.
And championship caliber teams make risky moves like this. If they trade for Cat, they have 3 all NBA caliber players. They have a top 3 center in the NBA. They have a top 5 point guard in Chris Paul in the NBA. They have a top 5 shooting guard in Devin Booker, and they still have that depth. Before you go, Drew, DeAndre Ayton, he didn't get paid this offseason, and this is another underrated aspect about the trade. Minnesota has to pay Ayton and Cam Johnson. They're both on expiring deals. I've read that, because I put this trade out on Twitter, I've read that some people, the deal breaker in this deal is Cam Johnson, and I'm wondering why. He averages 7. He averages 7 a game, shooting 36% from 3, but 53% from the corner. So he's pretty much automatic from the corner. But in saying that, Karl Anthony Towns is definitely significantly better than DeAndre Ayton. It's not even close. And frankly, JaVale McGee has been better than DeAndre Ayton this season. And I know you're going to be like, that sounds crazy. DeAndre Ayton, look what he did in the playoffs. Look at these numbers. DeAndre Ayton is averaging 16 and 12, 0.6 blocks per game, shooting 62% from the field. McGee's averaging 10 and 7 and 16 a game. Per 36, that's like 20 and 14. He's given a great impact. He's averaging 1.1 blocks per game in 16 minutes, shooting 67% from the field. You look at McGee and Ayton's on and off numbers, McGee is +9. Ayton is -6 per 100 possessions. Ayton, 7.3 points allowed per 100 possessions. McGee is at -7.5. McGee has been a better defender. He's been a better offensive player this season. And Phoenix's best lineup this year, their best starting 5, has been with McGee and Kaminsky at the 5. It's been the best with Kaminsky. Their offensive rating is 130 with Kaminsky. With McGee, it's 107. With Ayton, it's 104.8. So Phoenix, when they play McGee or Kaminsky at the 5, they are significantly better than with Ayton at the 5. And Kaminsky has a similar skill set in terms of spacing the floor that Cat offers, and Cat is even better. So if Phoenix is this dominant with Kaminsky on the floor, just imagine what they would be with Cat. And you look at Cat's numbers, 11.7 points per 100 possessions, plus 25 expected added wins last season. This season, he's at plus 7.6 and 11 plus wins. So Cat has been amazing. Even though Minnesota loses, it's not because of him. And just for reference, this year Ayton is at plus 2.5 and plus 2 wins. Last season he was at that. This season, Phoenix is plus 1.2 points better per 100 possessions, but they're minus 15 in expected added wins with him there. So the advanced numbers don't like DeAndre Ayton too much. And McGee, Kaminsky, the lineup has been much better with them at the 5 than DeAndre Ayton.
So
DeAndre Ayton is more replaceable than people think. He's not this irreplaceable player.
Listen, I'm 100% okay with giving up Ayton to go get Karl-Anthony Towns. Obviously, if you're the Suns, you want to get a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns, like how you mentioned. Obviously, he's an amazing offensive weapon.
With Chris Paul,
it would be crazy. But the thing is, I'm kind of on that side of I don't want to trade Cam Johnson either. I'd be more willing to give up Jay Crowder. I understand that you're saying Jay Crowder's better than Cam Johnson at this point in time, and I agree. But I think that Cam Johnson being so young and being
he's 25.
He's still 25 years. And how old is Jay Crowder?
He's in year 3.
And Jay Crowder is 30. He's not a minimum 30. He's been in the league for a while.
Like 31. But my thing is, Cam is in year 3. He's 25 already.
And he's still a solid 3-and-D ball player.
What's the ceiling?
And his defense is excellent.
All this goes to all this points to what's
he could be a better Jay Crowder.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's all I'm saying. All right. So, which is why I'm okay with doing the deal. But if we switch Jay Crowder and we switch it for Cam Johnson,
trying to win now, though.
I agree, but I think Cam Johnson's defense still allows that opportunity to still win now, and he's a solid shooter as well. His defensive rating this season is 104. He's been great. So I still would do the trade if you just switch Jay Crowder and Cam Johnson, because you're still giving up the 2 first-round picks, so they're still getting young players. And on top of that, you're still getting Ayton, Saric, and Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder, who's one of the best in the locker room there is around for a role player. And obviously, I don't want to talk about the Suns getting Cat because that just makes all the sense. You guys hit it right in the head. You bring in Cat, you automatically establish yourselves as a primetime team in the league, or maybe the team to be in the NBA for a championship. But Chris Paul's getting up there in age. You want to keep these younger guys together so they have that core and that chemistry to continue to build on to possibly create a dynasty, especially if you're getting a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns.
You said dynasty, and then you keep talking about Cam Johnson.
I'm just saying the young core that they have right now. Obviously, Mikal Bridges.
You're on the fence of keeping Ayton and Cam Johnson.
No, I'm on the fence of just I want Cat to go to the Suns. I agree with the package that you have. I wouldn't mind it. Obviously, I just would rather you switch Cam Johnson for Jay Crowder because I think that Cam Johnson could be a better Jay Crowder.
I think your reasoning is logical, but I think sometimes you tend to overvaluate talent. For one, Cam Johnson is a good player. Is he a very talented player?
No.
I don't think he is.
I mean, defensively, he's very talented.
He's good.
Defensively, he's good.
He's very talented.
He's not great defensively. He's not elite. He's just
104 defensive rating this season.
It's because of the lineup he plays with. Cam Johnson is
credit.
He's a good defender, but he's not great. He's not elite. He's not a defensive stopper.
He's not Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, he's not.
No way.
Not at all.
Mikal Bridges is one of the best defenders in the league.
You talk about I'd rather just trade Jay Crowder, not Cam Johnson. I think that's a mistake. Jay Crowder was the heart and soul to Phoenix.
But you're getting Karl-Anthony Towns.
Jay Crowder is one of those is a similar player to what PJ Tucker is. In PJ Tucker, he's the heart and soul in the teams that he goes to, he is the heart and soul. You look at Jay Crowder when he was at Memphis, heart and soul. When he was in Boston,
31.
Heart and soul. Jay Crowder right now, he is one of those guys along with Chris Paul that is the leader in that locker room that holds everybody accountable and makes them play together. His impact, maybe on the box score, him and Cam Johnson are a bit similar, but in terms of what they bring to a locker room and leadership, Jay Crowder's impact, if he goes, would be felt tremendously.
But you still have CP3.
This is the thing. Phoenix, Cam Johnson, Ayton are already on expiring deals. I firmly believe that they probably let Cam Johnson walk after this year. I think their only priority is to bring back Ayton, but in terms of Cam Johnson, I think they probably let him walk.
I think we forget Jay Crowder has been to back-to-back finals as being that rough rider.
In Miami, I totally forgot about Miami.
And I think you value talent over intangibles in wrong situations.
Okay.
Look, I'm gonna just before. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good.
Phoenix is in a win now mode
for sure.
Their window to win is with Chris Paul, D Book, and this roster they have in place. Jay Crowder is a win now guy. Even if you trade,
he's only averaging like barely.
You're looking at
but defensively, Cam Johnson's a better defender than Jay Crowder.
No, he's not.
I mean, he might be.
No, he's not.
Cam Johnson is a solid defender. You're overlooking his defense.
I think they're both in the same tier, but Crowder's
better. And he's still younger. But he's still a better shooter than Jay Crowder is.
I'm not saying Jay Crowder can guard fives consistently, but who's better at guarding bigs? You don't have to think about that.
From what we've seen, obviously Jay Crowder.
From what we've seen, it's Jay Crowder.
Yeah.
Phoenix is in win now mode. They shouldn't be thinking about age when trying to win a championship.
Clearly not with CP3.
If teams thought about age, Lakers wouldn't have made the moves they made in free agency in the offseason. The Heat wouldn't have gotten Tucker and Lowry, who are both 35 plus, but they're in win now mode. That doesn't matter. They need players who have experience and have a resume. That is Jay Crowder. Now, if you add Cat there, you still have a young core with D Book and Cat going forward, and their best friends and Bridges as well. Your bench, you can figure out the bench. And then JaVale McGee off the bench. JaVale McGee can give you what DeAndre Ayton gives you. In fact, this year, JaVale McGee has been better than DeAndre Ayton. The advanced numbers prove it. If the Suns get Cat, they can go toe-to-toe with Golden State. And Golden State, we know their one weakness is bigs.
Yeah.
So if Cat goes to Phoenix, Phoenix now has a recipe to, okay, now we can beat Golden State because we got Cat. We got somebody who can average 25 or 13. And they had a front row seat in watching Cat because Cat gave them like 34 and 14 the other night. We talked about it from Phoenix's side. But from the Timberwolves side, would you accept this trade?
You have to.
Oh, you have to.
This is the best deal you're going to get.
I don't know if it's the best deal. I feel like
the next thing that's being offered is Ben Simmons, bro.
That's fair. But you're getting Ayton, obviously, and you're getting two first round picks. So that's great as is.
And you still get a solid, not all-star, but a solid caliber player that can play at that all-star level and can still become that all-star. So I think this is probably the best deal you're gonna get. And you still get a guy who just went to the championship and he contributed very, very well on the championship run. So I think that's a winning player. Realistically, at this point in time, Ayton has been more of a winning player than Cat. So you bring in a guy who's been to that road, who's been to the end of the tunnel, and then you still keep D'Lo, you still keep Pat Bev, you still keep Anthony Everett, and they're all the same age for the most part.
Cam Johnson is there off the bench. I don't think Cam Johnson starts over Jared Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt he's much better defensively, and they need that in the lineup. But Cam Johnson off the bench with Malik Beasley.
Jaden.
Yeah, Jaden. That's really good, man. And if you're Minnesota, this is only if Cat wants out. Because I think Minnesota can win with Cat right now with the roster they have in place. But if they start losing and Cat's like, you know what, I'm out of here, just trade me. Getting DeAndre Ayton, Cam Johnson, they get better defensively with Ayton. I think that would be a very good spot, and I think it – obviously, Phoenix is winning this trade by a mile because they're getting Cat. But having a center you can build around for the future, he can hold that position down for the future.
Yeah.
Having Edwards who can slide into 2 or 3 for the future. They have a lot of pieces going forward. And then those 2 first-round picks, granted, they'll be late first-round picks because Phoenix – actually, it won't be. Probably not because Phoenix can't trade their first-round picks in the next 2 years because of the Stephian rule. So they would be like picks in 2024, 2025. So if the Suns are bad by then, Timberwolves can luck out and get a high pick, and they can draft another, really great player. So Minnesota, they'd kind of be winners. And also, Cat is under contract for 3 seasons. Phoenix doesn't have to worry about paying him.
Booker 2, if I'm not mistaken.
No, this year and next 2. So, 3 seasons. They wouldn't have to worry about paying him, and I think this puts them as the second, if not best team in the Western Conference if they make this move.
Oh, yeah. If I'm just nitpicking, that's the only thing I could really say about that Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder. That would be my only thing. But obviously, you want a guy like Karl Anthony Towns to come onto your squad because obviously he's a difference maker in multiple facets.
So Karl Anthony Towns is one of the best centers in the league. We're about to talk about the best center in the league, in my opinion, Nikola Jokic. And Nikola Jokic is having another tremendous season. He's even better this year than he was last season. And last season, he won the MVP. But it feels like KD and Steph and DeRozan and the Bulls, and it feels like a lot of different teams and players are getting more attention than Jokic, even though he has been straight up spectacular. And maybe it's because he plays in a smaller market, maybe because he's just being overlooked right now. But this is our time to shine some light on what he's doing and how exceptional he's been. I, for one, did not know Denver would be this competitive. You know, I thought having Murray basically out for the season, I thought MPJ would take that next leap, but he's been disappointing. And when he's played, he's injured right now. Maybe that injury was there before, and that's why he wasn't playing well. But Nikola Jokic right now has a 35 PER, the best all time. He's first in value added at 155. The second best player is Montrezl Harrell at 113. He's first in estimated wins added. Seventh in scoring at 26 a game. Second in rebounds at 14 a game. 16th in assists at 6.3 assists. The Nuggets are 9-6, have a plus 29.9 point differential when Jokic is on the court. And his second best players are Will Barton, who's having a career season, Aaron Gordon, Monte Morris, and their best bench player has been Bones Holland and Jeff Green for the most part. And these aren't scrubs, but in a tough Western Conference, for you to be competitive with the roster that isn't the best, the supporting cast isn't the best, is exceptional. And I think Jokic deserves a lot of credit. What do you think?
Yeah, no, you know, it's and I think what it is Jokic, like you said, plays in a small market. He's not the flashiest. He's not the big fancy name. You know, he's a guy who kind of flies under the radar, and that's what happens with players like that. You know, they don't get the recognition, but the Jokic has been literally everything for that Denver team. He's been phenomenal for his standards on defense. Offensively, you know what he's going to do. He's going to be their best playmaker. He's going to be their best scorer. He's going to be their best rebounder. So he does everything for this team, and I think, you know, he should definitely be in that top 5 race in the MVP running. I think the reason I think why, you know, he doesn't get as much love as DeMar, because the Bulls were trash last year, and obviously now they're not, so it looks a little different. And then Steph and KD are always going to get love because they have the resume. They're Steph and KD. So, but I think, you know, the Jokic deserves to be in that conversation right now because of the fact that Denver being so hampered with injuries, he's still been able to keep them afloat, you know, and can he continue? I feel like he's going to continue what he does. Him personally, he's going to do what he does. Can they continue winning at this level? It's going to be tough because, like we said, the West, everybody's floating in that 9, 6, 10, 7, 11, 6, 5, whatever that range. You know, everybody's floating. The Clippers, them, you know, Portland's starting to pick up some steam a little bit. Memphis is starting to get some steam. Dallas is there. So everybody's floating. So it's going to be tough. But I think we should definitely – the league needs to be more vocal, and they need to be more spread out. They talk about the same thing every time, and they give love to the same people every time. They need to spread out. You know, guys like Donovan Mitchell in Utah, like the Joker in Denver, Devin Booker in Phoenix, Rudy Gobert in Utah, Ja Morant in Memphis. Like, it's very weird how Ja Morant is getting that love in Memphis and Nikola's not getting love in Denver. Memphis is just a smaller market as Denver, probably smaller. It's weird.
It just goes based off who's more exciting to watch. Obviously, Jokic, if you're a fan of the game, he plays meticulously. He's as borderline perfect as it gets for the big man. He can facilitate an offense. Very few bigs, if any, really are solid.
He's the best passing big man of all time.
That might be by far, yeah. No, that is a fact.
I don't think it's a debate.
I'm an old head telling you that.
And I can't. But the fact that he does it so far and beyond every other center in the league, his rebounding, obviously his efficiency, his free throw, if I'm nitpicking, could be a little bit better, but it's in the 75%. So even as a big, that's still impressive. But it's not like he's not a flashy player, and that's why we see highlights from Ja Morant. That's why we see so much about LaMelo Ball, because they're high flying, they're doing behind the back passes, even though Jokic obviously is more than capable of that. But people don't see Jokic and think exciting, which for whatever reason. But if you're an actual basketball fan, you can appreciate the things that he does. You see that he is just so far above and beyond the rest of the guys at that position.
And it's weird because a lot of NBA fans don't think Jokic is a top 5 player, which is straight up ludicrous. He has an argument to be the best player in the NBA. You look at all the advanced statistics, he's leading in every single one by a large margin. When I made the video about Derrick Rose not being top 5 when he won the MVP in 2011, people in the comments were like, that's cool because Jokic is in top 5. The only players you can put over Jokic right now are Curry, KD, maybe Giannis.
They're probably neck and neck.
And Jokic. I mean, maybe Giannis and that's it. But Jokic is easily a top 5 player. And this year, my top 5 players, Steph is 1, Jokic is 2 for me. KD's 3, Giannis is 4, and 5 is Jimmy Butler. I think those are the top 5 players this year so far and how they've been playing this season. Easily top 5 for me.
Do you have the same top 5?
It's just hard for me to hear that. Obviously, LeBron's been out.
My.
LeBron's not. Come on. And you know, it's funny because before the season, I was like, LeBron's not going to be a top 3 player. Even if LeBron was healthy, I'm not taking him.
Stop it. Like, LeBron wasn't hooping.
No.
Come on now.
He wasn't playing better.
No, right now, no.
Jokic, I'm fine with that.
KD and Steph, he wasn't playing
Even
better.
if LeBron was healthy, he's not better than Steph. He's not better than KD. He's not better than Giannis. He's not better than Jokic right now. That's just a fact.
Relax.
That's just a fact. That's just a fact.
Here's the point.
It's easy to talk now when he's not
We're not
playing.
saying these guys, we're not saying they're universally better than LeBron.
What you're
but
saying.
they were playing better than LeBron.
It's easy to talk now with LeBron not playing. I get it. I'm going to let you guys have this moment.
And I told you before the season that I was worried about LeBron because the past couple of seasons he's gotten hurt. His first year in LA, he got hurt. His second year in LA, the bubble happened. It helped him recover for the playoffs.
Enough of that. He was healthy. We just come off beating the Clippers and the Bucks, 2 of the most impressive wins of that season.
And then in year 3, going into Phoenix in the first round, he had an ankle injury. They lost in the first round. Now, this year, he's injured again. We're just finally seeing LeBron become mortal, and it's a rare sight for all of us, and we don't want to believe it. But LeBron just isn't. He's not a top 3 player in the league anymore. He's not.
I think that bubble break helped AD more than anything else.
Like, I'm fine with that because obviously AD is the more fragile of the 2.
And y'all needed that because without him, y'all wasn't winning nothing.
I mean,
That's
LeBron
fair.
was all world, so whatever you want to say.
I wasn't going to win without AD. AD was all world.
Obviously,
too.
it was the 1-2 punch.
If AD wasn't just as good as LeBron,
if you take away a top 5 player in the NBA off a team, oh my God, they're going to lose. It's not surprising. But again, like I'm saying, I'm fine with
it's funny.
Hold on, let me get my
okay.
I'm fine with your list for now.
I got PG over Jimmy, but that's biased.
I think Jimmy's been exceptional.
Jimmy has been.
Said biased. No,
Jimmy has been exceptional, and that's a fact. And that's why I'm fine with it for now. LeBron comes back tonight potentially. You guys can have your moment now for sure, but don't sleep on Bron. Obviously, he's LeBron James, and when he's been playing this season, he has been exceptional. The shooting has been exceptional. We just need him to come back, and we're going to have wins. And we've been unhealthy. I mean, no, but that has not. Giannis is. Who's saying anything about Giannis?
I mean,
Giannis got it. KD got it. Steph got it.
In that game,
but to say he's not top 5, that's a.
And
you
that
guys
Bucks,
can have that right now, but it's going to be ludicrous soon.
In that Bucks versus Lakers game, Giannis basically said, "AD, you can't check me." He dropped 50 and 10 on him.
He was really trying to he was going at him like every time he's seen him. Like, it was really funny.
It's been a tough season for me. It has been. But we're going to bounce back.
So is Joker in your top 5?
He's got to be.
What's his number? What's the ranking?
I would probably put him 4. I would say I'm not in any order for the 3. You got Steph, KD, Giannis. I think Jokic is 4. I can't put Jokic over Giannis. He just came off a championship, had 50 in a game-winning game. In a series closing game in the NBA Finals. He was exceptional.
Yeah, one of the worst offenses of all time.
You're saying Milwaukee?
Of teams that won the championship, they had one of the worst offenses of all time.
Okay, that has nothing to do with
Giannis. I'm just saying this. Even though Giannis won a championship, there is still a question mark of whether he can be your lead offensive engine on a championship team.
Not for me. You could have
Can Joker, though, be that?
Yes.
Because it hasn't been answered.
Bro, has he hit a Western Conference Finals?
Yes.
Yeah, in the bubble against you guys.
Oh, you're 100% right.
Hell?
I forgot that the Clippers
and
choked like that.
That series would have been
right.
that series would have went to 7 if it wasn't for AD hitting that game.
It was 5. They lost in 5.
Yeah, maybe 6. I don't know.
No, there was a lot of close games in that series though.
Well, because they lost because ultimately the better team won. But you stretched
the Nuggets were flaming hot. They were one of the hottest teams in the NBA, and we scolded them in 5.
Listen, defensively, the Bucks were one of the best teams ever.
No doubt. But Giannis had 50 offensively, in game 6 to close out the series.
I get it. And that's what we look at, but we don't look at the totality. Their offense was very mid throughout the playoffs. It just was. That's what it was.
Defense carried them.
They're a defensive team.
But if it wasn't for a lot of luck that played into their way, they're not champions.
But I'm not thinking too much about that, especially with Giannis still averaging a minimum of 28 basically the entire playoffs.
And I'm not saying that luck doesn't play into championships because it doesn't. PJ Tucker, when he was interviewed by JJ Redick, he said, I didn't realize how much luck played into a championship until I went to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Because in Houston, CP3 got injured. Then in Milwaukee, when we're facing Atlanta and Giannis goes out, I'm having flashbacks, and he's like, but then he came back. There's a lot of look that goes into that.
I'm not talking about just a championship. I'm talking about his play. Are we not gonna give him the benefit of the doubt that he played exceptional? Because that's all I care about.
He played exceptional, I'm not doubting that. But if you're talking about Giannis and Jokic, you can say Giannis has a championship, so he's better.
It's not necessarily what I'm saying.
Jokic offensively is on a different level than Giannis,
and defensively, it's not even close.
You're right.
So so if we're splitting hairs on offense,
it's like the same thing. Offensively,
but the reason
it's
why
not close, I'm going.
What
Giannis.
took Bucks over the top is Drew Holiday and the Tucker addition
for sure.
And Chris Middleton played
they're
an All NBA
They're a better
player.
team than the Nuggets, and that's
fine.
way
better.
But I'm just saying, in terms of player versus player,
this is what I have to say.
I'm taking Giannis.
If Steph Curry or LeBron were winning the way Jokic is winning with this current Denver Nuggets roster, we're giving them ultimate praise. I mean, last year, Steph Curry was winning with Wiggins and Draymond, which is a better supporting cast than what Jokic has right now. Curry didn't even make the playoffs, and he finished second in MVP voting. That's how much we recognize Curry. If that was Jokic with a similar roster, he doesn't even get considered.
But we've spoken about when Steph was on the court.
All right,
yeah.
To be fair, statistically, when Steph jumped off the court, they were the worst team in NBA history.
What about Jokic?
That's a good point.
I mean, look what he's doing.
LeBron obviously got his credit when he took the 2018 Cavs to the finals.
And before we stop this segment, before we end this segment, Aaron Gordon is somebody that every once in a while he shows a flash
in the pan,
that he can do something. But this guy's averaging 12 points per game.
It's kind of annoying at this point.
Like, he's more defensive.
In Orlando, he was averaging 16, 18 when we thought he had a breakout year. He's never done that again. He has to be that. He has to take on a bigger offensive role. It is what it is. Denver, Jokic is just on a different level right now, and I think he needs to be recognized because he's really playing all world.
That's a fact.
Yeah, as much as Jokic has been phenomenal, it's still tough to say they'll go to the finals unless we see Jamal Murray healthy, and we see MPJ at that level.
I'll be honest, I don't think they'll ever make a finals.
I got to ask you this. You think you place Giannis on that Nuggets team last year, they're beating Portland in the first round?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
What about you?
I don't know. I don't know.
But Giannis's jump shooting, his shooting just mid-range. No. I mean, it definitely was.
Portland would have definitely been an easy matchup for Giannis personally, though.
Yeah.
Nurkic there. They have a big.
I think he can dominate.
Covington.
Come on, bro.
He's going to kill Covington.
They have a couple wings.
Killed DeAndre Ayton, absolutely.
Well, then let me ask you.
Nurkic is a way better defender than Ayton.
Let me ask you a question then.
Not a way better, but he's better.
So switch out. You put Jokic against the Nets. Do they win? The Bucks. You think they win?
They need Giannis's defense. Jokic's defense really, it's not.
We're talking about last year, Jokic.
That's exactly.
I mean, why did they need Giannis's defense? He is exceptional, no doubt.
He's one of the reasons they're that great.
I know. Okay. There's no doubt. I don't want to disrespect Giannis too much because I love him as a player, but who was guarding KD?
Who was their best rim protector, though?
Let me just ask you. Who was guarding KD?
Okay, that's fair.
Who was guarding
PJ Tucker?
Who was guarding Harden and Kyrie when they were there?
Drew Holiday. Middleton.
Who was Giannis guarding?
Well, let me ask you a question because what killed when Phoenix played Denver? What killed them? Jokic couldn't switch.
They had no
drop coverage. That's true.
So with Giannis, you can't do that.
Yeah, there was no paint.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like it's different with Giannis. You literally all that drop coverage
with
nonsense.
Jokic, Middleton, Holiday.
You could put them in a pick and roll and just have Jokic. It's the same thing's gonna happen because Jokic's problem is he can't in the pick and roll. He's terrible. Yes. Well, last year.
What's the difference though? Because Chris Paul went crazy from the mid range. We know he's a knockdown mid range shooter. KD is the same way. Yep. But KD, he was dominating from the mid range in that series as well. So what's the difference? Outside of KD, who's a great mid range shooter on Brooklyn that played in that series? Nobody. Harden was playing hobbled. He was playing on one leg, and he's not even a mid range shooter.
But what is the point you're ultimately trying to make there?
I don't think Giannis.
We have to remember Giannis had a 50 ball in that series. 40 ball, pardon me. He had a couple of those.
In the Nets, you're saying?
Yeah, against the Nets. Like he also put on a dominant display.
It's like you can't overlook 50 closing out a finals.
I know. Okay, yeah. Look, I'm gonna stop disrespecting Giannis so much.
Just a little bit.
Giannis is a great. He's a Hall of Fame player.
Just a little bit. You're just a little bit.
But I'll say this:
if he keeps this up, he could arguably be the best power forward ever.
I like Jokic more, and I think Jokic is a better player than him.
No, that's fine.
Even even though Giannis has won a championship, he's a Finals MVP. I personally just think Jokic is a better player, and that's just me. And sometimes we look at accolades too much when determining who's a better player, when most of the time that's not the case. You know, Luka doesn't have the accolades per se as other guys. He's fairly young as well, but he's better than most guys who have those accolades.
It's like he doesn't have the accolades Dame has, but he's better than Dame.
What accolades does Dame have, though?
Yeah, you lost me with that one.
I mean, give him.
I think it's fair to say
y'all act like Dame really has done nothing in the league.
No, we're just talking about when you think accolades, you think MVP, DPOY.
Luka's already an All-NBA player and All-Star.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's already clean surpassed Dame, and Dame has 8-9 seasons.
Luka has already won Rookie of the Year, All-NBA player, and started in the All-Star game.
Lillard had Rookie of the Year, has an All-NBA.
That's what I'm saying.
In multiple
No,
in year
All-Star
seven.
games.
Hold on.
No, but it wasn't year 7 that Dame did all that.
Listen, bro. Listen to.
Oh, that's what you're saying. That was the first time.
Listen to what you said. All Dame has, well, not all Dame. What Dame has is an All-Star, is an All-NBA, is Rookie of the Year. That's all that he has. That's what Luka has right now.
But Dame has averaged a 28 point per game. Is a great facilitator. But Luka
has averaged 29.
I understand.
8 and 8.
But that's. Am I saying that Luka's not better than Dame?
That's saying exactly that. What I said. I'm saying this. They have the same accolades. Dame doesn't have something Luka doesn't have.
He just has more of what
he just has. Playoff series wins, he has that.
Okay.
But Dame doesn't have an MVP. He's never been a points leader, assist leader, rebound leader.
So Kyrie Irving. Would you say that you're taking Luka or Kyrie Irving?
Kyrie.
I'm asking for right now. You're saying that Kyrie has the accolades.
But
Luka Doncic, who are you taking?
Luka.
Okay, that's all right, so that's exactly the better
Kyrie
that
has more accolades than Dame.
But that's exactly what I'm trying to say. I fixed all right, here's a player with accolades that is basically like a Damian Lillard, but has more accolades.
I think we went from two guys that have MVPs to guys who don't have that. I think it's a little bit different.
No, I understand, but I'm saying in terms of who's better with
less accolades. I think it's fair to say Jokic is better than Giannis. I think it's fair to say that, but I also think let's not forget that Giannis is still that guy.
Listen,
you know
I don't
what I'm
think that. I'm just giving an example of someone who doesn't have the accolades that is better.
I want to reiterate this. I think most of the time when we debate sports or anybody debates sports and we say this guy's better than this guy, especially when discussing top 10, top 5 players, if I say Jokic is better than Giannis, people automatically assume, oh, this guy must think he's way better than Giannis.
Yeah.
It's close.
The gap.
Splitting hairs.
The gap between Giannis and Jokic is this.
Yeah, man.
You have to nitpick.
The gap between Cade and Curry is this. The gap between LeBron and these players is this. Even the gap between a player like Harden at his best and Embiid at his best and Luka at his best between these top 5 players is very slim. Like you said, you're splitting hairs, and on any given night, they can be better than the other. And that's just, it is what it is. Even a guy like Trae Young, like, on any given night, Trae Young can be better than Luka. On any given night, he can be better than Jokic. Like, it's really close. And when you're debating this, it's really just semantics. It's really who do you prefer? And I just prefer Jokic's skill set offensively rather than Giannis. Giannis is a more well-rounded player in terms of two-way prowess, but offensively, he doesn't offer what Jokic offers. Like, Jokic is some... Nikola Jokic...
You're saying Giannis to Jokic?
Nikola Jokic...
Giannis is a good facilitator still. Obviously, Jokic is a better passer, but it's not like Giannis isn't a good facilitator.
Jokic is a way better passer than Giannis.
I agree.
There's a gap.
I think you guys are comparing two different bigs.
No, we are, but there's a gap in their passing, a significant gap.
There's a gap.
Jokic is a better passer. Yes,
way better.
I'm with you.
Way better.
I'm with you.
Like it's like LaMelo to like.
Okay,
I see what you're trying to do though, but
is Jokic a good defender?
We're not talking about offensively though.
I'm asking you a question.
He is now.
He's now.
He is now.
Has Giannis ever not been?
The gap between defense. It's the same thing as the gap in passing.
Would you say it's
Giannis's
that?
defense is the same gap.
I think it's more significant defensively than to the passing. Giannis is still averaging 6 assists, 7 assists.
Numbers you can't. Yeah, when you look at numbers, for example, Russ is like top 3 in assists per game.
Okay, but it's different in this scenario.
How?
Giannis wins.
What?
Giannis wins.
What does that have to do with you being a better passer?
You're telling me he has this flat number of leading the league in assists, but he doesn't look that great of a ball player, and it doesn't necessarily
hold on.
You misinterpreted.
Well, if you want to use that, Giannis hasn't been winning this year as well.
Well, his team's been hurt. Give him that benefit. That he just came off a championship.
What have the Lakers been?
True.
Okay. For one, Russ racks up assists because of defenders closing out when he drives and passing. Jokic gets the ball in the elbow and makes a great bounce pass on a cut. I mean, listen, the passes Nikola
Jokic is a better passer than Giannis.
No, significant. No, I just want you to understand it's significant. And shooting, it's significant as well.
Oh yeah. That's facts.
No, I'm sorry. The gap between Jokic and Giannis in shooting is the gap between them as passers as well.
Probably. But passing, I don't know. I say shooting for sure. Passing, I don't know.
You're being so picky right now.
I am.
Being very
Definitely
picky.
am.
Crazy.
I am. I'll be honest.
I've been watching Cade a lot, and he tries to make the passes Jokic makes.
Doesn't work.
And it just goes over the backboard. I'm like, Nikola Jokic is really one of a kind. He's somebody
I'm sure Karl Anthony Towns didn't expect Jokic to easily bounce right over him.
Jokic is someone who can pass like Larry Bird and shoot like Dirk Nowitzki. And I got that quote from Ben Taylor from Thinking Basketball. He's an amazing content creator. That's how great Jokic is, though.
I mean, he's shooting 40 from 3. That's
no,
insane.
This year 35%.
No, I just looked 41%.
Oh, probably because the last game.
I don't know about the Dirk thing. I don't know
because he can't shoot like Dirk.
You got to understand the way Dirk was getting his shot off, though. The turnaround, step back, 1-footer, the jab step. It's
his footwork was.
I guess
meticulous.
In the percentages you could say that, but in the way Dirk was shooting the ball, I don't know. It's different.
Jokic is one of a kind, man. He's one of my favorite players. But on to the next topic. Cade Cunningham, number 1 overall pick. When he first started playing with the Pistons, people were worried about him because of these bad performances.
Oh my God.
He was shooting bad. Drew texted the chat like
he had a bad game.
Speak.
Drew texted the chat like Cade isn't looking that good right now.
Cade sucks.
He's
all
looking
caps.
iffy.
All caps.
I can't joke. Come on. He shot. It was like 2 for 12.
Word.
And
I'm allowed to joke.
Cade in the last 5 games has averaged 16.
He's been awesome.
16 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game, shooting 43% from the field and 34% from 3. He had 20 against Houston and 25 against Sacramento. When we talked about Cade's struggles, Riv wasn't on the show, so I'll let you go first and what you've been seeing from Cade.
I just been seeing him unlock a little bit more of his game every single moment. It's something different. The playmaking, the rebounding, the defense, going to the rack, bullying other guards. It's just been something different. The shooting is starting to catch up. And I'm still puzzled at why they keep letting Killian Hayes run the offense and Cade doesn't get much of the offense run. But
it's funny as hell that you mentioned Killian because Killian Hayes had that one double-double the other night.
Against Toronto, right?
Yeah, and this Pistons fan, his name is Tyler on Twitter. He reacted to our TikTok about us saying Killian Hayes was a bust. And we get it. It's very early. Killian can turn his career around. We're not hoping for him to fail. But our gut feeling right now is that Killian Hayes is probably going to be a bust. That's just how I feel right now. And when he had that double-double, he asked me like, man, you were so low on Killian. Look at this. Look what he's doing now. Next game, he has 2 points. And I added him back like, where's that energy now?
Yeah.
Where's that energy now?
You know what's crazy? Me and Joel we were high on Killian. We wanted him to be like, I remember when Killian came out, Joel was like, oh, I think I want him in the Knicks. Like, he's really good. This, that. Like, we were high on him. It's just he hasn't shown us nothing. Like, he has literally walked into the league and declined since then. Like, he hasn't
outside
been good.
Of defense.
Defense, he's phenomenal.
He's solid.
He's phenomenal in defense. But it reminds me kind of like maybe he can play that Lonzo role, like that 3-and-D point guard type role next to Cade, because Cade is going to get keys to the offense full time eventually.
He should have it already.
It's only a matter of time. And since he's walked in, they've won games, not the most games, not a lot of games, but they went out there and they beat Houston on the road. They went out there and they beat Toronto on the road when he had 7 points in the clutch. The Nets, like you said, they were competitive. So he's been there, they've been a little bit more competitive. So I think that winning mentality, that leadership role, he's starting to really embrace that and put that on to everybody else. He helped Jeremy Grant have 30 the other day. Just getting him in the right spot. So I think he's unlocked a little bit every game, and he's gonna start creeping into that Rookie of the Year award very, very soon. And it's only a matter of time. He just needed to play.
We're all basically gonna say the exact same thing. The only opinion you should have on Cade Cunningham is that he's going to be a great ball player, and we're seeing it early on. We just need to see his efficiency be a little bit better.
No preseason, no training.
Exactly. He's coming in very raw, and we're seeing him have the impact that he's had already with the Detroit Pistons. I think that he's obviously. What's the initial question? Are we impressed? you should be impressed. He's on the Pistons. He's obviously making the difference in their squad.
3-2 in the last 5 games.
You take it. The only thing, if I'm really nitpicking, he needs to be a little more efficient. But that's going to come with time. He's a rookie. He's obviously still trying to find his stroke, like you mentioned. No training camp, no preseason, none of that. He's coming in very.
I think efficiency is going to be a little bit overrated this year. I think everybody aside from Kevin Durant, who's just he's different.
I don't want to agree with that. I feel like efficiency, I understand the volume, that the amount of shots that he's going to take is going to be high.
No, I think people are just adjusting to the fact that to the new rules and the calls not being called. So efficiency is going to look a little different than it's looked in the past. You know, I see a lot of guys
just chucking up shots,
not chucking up, but but taking up a lot of shots, and their efficiency is like even Steph Curry, who's one of the most efficient players in the league. He doesn't even. We say he's been playing phenomenal, but he doesn't look his great efficiency. So I think it's just going to take some time. And I think efficiency is just going to be a little bit overrated this year. But nonetheless, he does have to pick it up.
I mean, right now he's looking at 34 from the field and 26 from 3-point. I feel like that's
because of his
first 3 games.
No, for sure.
Was garbage.
100% facts. I'm just going based off just the totals, but he has picked it up over these last couple of weeks. Even the last game, against Sacramento in a game that they lost, he shot 50% and 45 from 3. That's just what he's capable of. On top of the rebounding totals that he's getting, he's a great facilitator of the offense. He is just going to be a primetime player for them. It's just only the beginning.
Cade Cunningham, even in his first 3 games, all of the shots that he was getting were great shots, and most of his 3-point shots were in and out. They weren't bad misses. They could have easily gone in. I think he'll finish the season around 44 to 46% from the field and 34 to 37% from 3. I think he'll finish the year around there. It's funny how much fans overreact, and we do this as well. When you're covering the NBA the entire season,
it is fun.
And you see teams doing things in certain parts of the year, you have to talk about how great they are, even if you do tend to overreact. That's just what it is in the moment. And before Cade played, everybody said Scotty. Everybody was like, Scotty, wow. Oh, the Pistons might have missed on Cade because Scotty looks amazing.
Mobley, too, a little bit.
Yeah, Mobley.
Definitely Mobley.
But I know there was like a lot of discourse on Twitter was about how, especially when Cade started off rough, was that, oh, look at Scotty. He's so exceptionally better. And now we see what Cade is doing, and it's like, no, if you watch Cade, Scotty, I think is going to be very good. He's going to be great. But Cade is really that generational guy.
It's like, look at Jalen Green. It's like, what can Jalen Green do right now that isn't score? It's limited.
No, it's actually funny.
It's limited, really. So, and that was the second. That would be the better conversation. Don't talk about Cade because obviously he impacts the game in so many different facets. You could say that about Jalen Green and how the Rockets missed on that and maybe should have taken the Scotty. That talk I can hear. But you talk about Cade and you try and talk about Scotty, that I can't.
Scotty in Houston.
I think Mobley is better.
I'm fine with that too.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that too. Right now, you just look
at they had 2, right? They're the second pick. Houston.
Yeah, we'll talk about Houston in a bit, but just to talk about the Pistons, 3-2 in their last 5. Cade has been amazing in their last 5. Sadiq Bey hasn't even found his groove this season in terms of his efficiency. He hasn't even.
Shit, he killed us.
And he was efficient last year. He hasn't found his efficiency yet. Jeremy Grant's averaging 18, but his efficiency hasn't been as great. I was looking at this article from The Athletic about the Sixers and a potential trade. They said they'd be open to trading Ben Simmons to Detroit for Jeremy Grant and a couple of young players. If you're Detroit, do you even think about that?
No.
You don't. You have Cade who can basically shoot.
No. Hell no. Absolutely not. I don't like. What would be the package? Is Killian gone? A Cade, Killian, Ben lineup looks disgusting.
Maybe a Frank Jackson. I don't know.
Jeremy Grant probably have to go.
Or Saban Lee.
Oh God, Saban Lee's like a smaller Westbrook.
Is Josh Jackson? He's on the Pistons, correct? Or is he on the Grizzlies?
On the Pistons.
Okay. He's on the Pistons. Or Diallo.
Oh my God, I don't like Ben to Detroit. I feel like they don't need. I feel like the only thing they'll do is probably trade Jeremy Grant to a winner for like a couple more picks. I think that would probably be the only move that they make.
It's like what? Cade's 2 inches shorter than Ben. Obviously, Ben plays the better defense. Ben's probably the better facilitator, but offensively, you got to give it to Cade. So why would you make that move? It's not like Cade is horrific on defense. He's definitely not.
I don't think it's that bad if you're giving up Jeremy Grant. I'm just be honest.
It's like you already have your Ben Simmons who has more of an offensive game.
Yeah, but I think having 2 of that is not bad.
I'm not fond of starting Hayes, Stewart, and Ben Simmons.
I mean, I'm thinking more of Cade, Sadiq, and Ben moving forward.
Yo, it'd be so much. I don't know. If I don't even want to say this. Maybe another day.
Say it.
Ben playing the 5.
Will he do it?
That's the question. I mean, obviously.
Would Detroit trading for Ben kind of be like them trading for Blake Griffin?
Interesting.
No,
I don't know. You don't know what Ben you're getting right now. That's it right now. You don't know what you're getting.
I mean, Blake gave them a 25.
Blake was like that. That's what I'm saying.
Blake was a little different.
Blake was like that.
Bro was a bucket.
He took them to the playoffs that season.
Twice, I think he did it.
Bro really went a year and a half without dunking. It just went to
Very
the
weird.
Nets. Game 1, threw it down.
If I'm 6'10", I don't even think I'm not dunking.
Yeah.
Like, everything's getting dunked.
That was a misleading stat. He talked about that because in those days he only played like a couple of games. He was injured most of the time.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay. It's good to know.
He was because he was on a JJ Redick podcast and was like, I hated that narrative so much because it was like I was injured for like most of that. I didn't even play.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that was kind of misleading.
Okay.
We talked about Jalen Green for a little bit, and the Rockets right now they're historically bad right now. They're 1-14. 12 of their losses have been by double digits, on pace to finish the season 5-77, which will be by far the worst single season record of all time. In 2011-2012, the 7-59 Bobcats were 3-12 in their first 15 games, which is better than the Rockets. In 2009-2010, the 12-70 Nets started out 0-18. So they were much worse. And in 2015 and 2016, the Sixers, the tanking Sixers, started out 0-18 as well. So the Rockets, even though they're on a historically bad pace, this isn't the worst start that we've seen. But what do you think about Houston? I mean, before the season, we weren't even high on them. We thought they were going to be this bad. They've kind of been even a bit more worse than I thought they were going to be.
Definitely worse.
But what do you think is what's Houston's problem right now? Or problems?
You know, it's hard to assess a problem when a team's in rebuild. You know, I think they're supposed to be losing games, right? You know, they're supposed to come out and lose as many games, you know, get on the Paolo bandwagon, the Chet Holmgren bandwagon. We want these guys. We're going to lose. But it looks like they go out there and they legit try to win. It's just a lot of they like, let's start from the coaching. The coaching aspect, I think Steven Silas is still, you know, he's still learning his ways, and he's still trying to figure out the coach. You know, he's made some lineup, in my opinion, he's made some questionable lineup changes. He puts in rotations that don't make sense in my mind. He plays guys a little bit too much more than they need to be playing. At the same time, management needs to, I think they need to go all in on this young group and need to trade guys like Daniel House, Eric Gordon, you know, hopefully get John Wall, just pay that man the bread and, you know, put him in free agency. David Nwaba, he really shouldn't play a single minute. He's really bad.
It's a lot of money.
But at the same time, looking at the young guys, you know, KPJ, Jalen Green, Sengun has been really good. You know, I wasn't too high on him being a star or nothing like that, but he's been one of their positive bright spots in Houston. He's been really good. He's been solid on the defensive end. He's a good passer, so he's been good. Garuba hasn't really been getting much burn as expected. Same with Josh Christopher, but I'm going to zone in on these two guys, Jalen Green and KPJ. Jalen Green, I didn't think was the second best prospect coming out. I thought Evan Mobley was better. I thought Scotty was better long term. I barely even thought he was the best two guard in the class. Obviously, James Bucknight got sent to the G League, but Jalen Green, the thing with Jalen Green was they have him at this weird situation where he just spots up, take threes, and then when he does get the ball, he just goes out there because he doesn't get a lot of opportunities. And with KPJ, he's not a real point guard. I know he tweeted, I'm a point guard. I understand he wants to play this role. I understand we had a little small sample size last year that showed us maybe he could be, but I don't think he's a full-time point guard. I think he can do it in spurts, but I don't think he doesn't have the proper vision. He doesn't have the proper IQ. I think he's a two guard that can just play the one for a short time. I don't think he has the intangibles as a point guard to make the proper reads, to make the proper looks, to run situations, to run an offense for a long time. And I think that's what's really hurting them because you got a permanent two. You got two permanent two guards realistically, and one guy's playing out of position. With Jalen Green, I don't even think he's that type of two guard that can feed off KPJ because he's a guy that gets his own. He really wants the ball in his hands to make plays for himself because that's the type of two guard he is. And they're both bottom defenders, you know, like Jalen Green isn't a good defender. KPJ really isn't. You see the effort, but you're just not a good defender. And I think coming in, Houston, they have a lot of talent, a lot of youth, And it's going to be growing pains early, no doubt. But at the same time, you got to look, at least with Detroit, they look competitive. They for the most part, now that they got their guy, even before Cade got there, they gave us a run for our money in the first 2 games we played them. And now that their guy is there, they look competitive. So even with OKC, young group, they look competitive. Orlando, they look competitive. San Antonio, like these young teams, really young teams, they look competitive. And even with Houston, they have veterans on their team, and they just don't look good. So they're in a really tough spot. It's still a little bit early; they can figure it out, but they're in a really tough spot, and their rebuild is gonna take a long time if they don't figure out their situations now.
Just a lot of players on this squad that just are average. And
screaming.
I think Christian Wood, obviously, we had a lot of expectation on him, and him only averaging 16 points, that's not something I'm sure that fans expected. His efficiency's down as well. He's in like the similar 40-30% range, which you wanted more from him, especially Rockets fans. I'm assuming they were expecting him to continue on this all-star trend that he was showing a bit last season before he got hurt. But Jalen Green has been so underwhelming to me. I understand he's a rookie and it's going to take time, so I'm not going to be too critical. I still think that he can be a great scorer in this league, but he's struggling right now, and he's having a lot of opportunities to break out of this slump. And we've seen flashes in a pan from him of showing what we thought prior to the draft what he could be, and he's had a 30 ball. He's had a game where he's made over 7 threes. Like, he has these capabilities. It's just we need to see it more on a consistent basis. Now for KPJ, this one's tough for me because I'm a big fan of KPJ. I like his game a lot, but you're 100% right. He's really not a point guard. He's turning the ball over a bunch. He's averaging 4 turnovers a game. Even Jalen Green's turning the ball over a bunch. He's averaging 3 turnovers a game. But KPJ just needs to be more efficient as well, and he just needs to be more consistent in his play. If he's going to be a point guard, be a point guard, but don't have games where you have a one-track mind of wanting to get a bucket, because obviously we know KPJ has the talent to score. It's just that he's out of position right now, and they need him to be more of a facilitator. Get Christian Wood involved. Get Jalen Green in spots, better spots for him to be put in a position to have success. It's just a lot of guys on this team, and it's one of the few rosters where you have more than 4 or 5 guys averaging double-digit points, but it's not one guy averaging 20-something. Your best player is averaging 16. Your next close, I want to say you have 14, 13, 12, 11. It's just underwhelming because all of these guys' efficiency, no one in this starting lineup is shooting over 50%. I'll give Eric Gordon his credit off the bench. He's been pretty great. He's averaging, I think his 3-point percentage is 45. But he's missed some time. I think he's missed, 3 games, 4 games this early in the season. It's just something's missing for this team. And it's a player that, similar to John Wall, is just going to be able to give them a bucket when they need it. And they don't have that right now.
I think KPJ is a prime example of why you shouldn't buy into players because of a short sample size so quickly. I understand he had some flashes, but KPJ was never a true point guard. We all had hope that he can be that. He was never that efficient, and this year he hasn't been efficient. I think he'll pick up his efficiency. The Rockets are just bad. They don't have much talent on the roster. They don't have a coach that has proven before that he can manage young players and develop. You mentioned Detroit. Dwayne Casey's their coach. He has a track record of developing players. In Toronto, he showed that. So he has that track record. For Houston, I think it starts with their talent. Christian Wood has been underwhelming. From the free throw line, he can't hit anything. And I think his struggles have more to do with not having a point guard. If John Wall was there, he would be way better. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Wall. Exactly. And with Harden, he was playing at an all-star level. So he just needs a real point guard, and KPJ isn't that. Jalen Green, I know he's going to have an up and down rookie season. I'm not looking at him too much. I'm not going to blame him too much for this. Eric Gordon has been their best player this year.
Definitely.
And when he started, he's been amazing as well. Eric Gordon is going to be one of those players that's going to get traded in the middle of the year
see him on a winning team.
to a contender, and he's going to give them a big spark. If I'm the Knicks, call up Houston and get Eric Gordon on the squad.
All of us want him.
Look, I'm saying
you don't need him really.
If I'm the Knicks, Houston, I'm giving you Fournier. Give me Gordon.
I think Dallas should call.
Lakers should call.
Dallas would be a great fit
Dallas
for
should
him.
call for
Just
Eric
gonna
Gordon.
ignore the Lakers?
Yes, because you have nothing to give.
What do you mean? mean?
To match his contract? Do you know how much he gets paid?
That's true.
Like 16, 17.
Yeah, bro, he gets paid money.
It's a lot.
THT will have to go.
If I'm the Knicks, look,
no way.
I'm trying to get Gordon, but Gordon is a really good player. They have a bottom 5 offense and defense. They don't pass the ball. They're 28th in assists right now. If I'm Houston, no. Trading Gordon is not a solution. This is going to make it worse. But if I'm Houston, I'm telling John Wall, you got to play, bro. And
they're the ones that approached him and said, "Yo, you're good to sit."
And I don't get that, because the reason I never got it was because, for one, you're not going to trade John Wall. John Wall's contract is untradeable. The only solution to having John Wall not on your roster is by buying him out. That's it. And if you don't want to buy him out, what's the point of not playing him if you can't trade him? John Wall, we know he's not what he once was, but will he bring veteran leadership to this squad? Yes. Will he bring a stable point guard to this squad? Yes. Will he make them more competitive? Yes. But even with John Wall, that still doesn't ruin their tanking chances. They're still going to be bad. But now you just have Christian Wood playing better. You'll have Jalen Green playing better. How many teams strive for having a true point guard on their team? Right now, I'm looking at the Knicks and I'm like, we need a point guard. Houston has a true point guard that they're paying $44 million a year and telling him to sit out for no apparent reason, because you can't trade him. So what's the point of not playing him? It just doesn't make sense.
I don't even understand the buyout situation, because you're not getting any free agents. Nobody wants to go out there. So it's like, and at this point, nobody wants to go play with a bunch of young guys.
The thing with the buyout is he doesn't want the buyout because he wants that full $40 million. That's why they can't come to that agreement in the buyout terms. But in terms of him not playing,
I think he should play.
That's the Rockets, and that makes no sense. He should play.
I think he's at worst, the 19th, 20th starting point guard in the league?
Right now, their starting lineup has been KPJ, Jalen Green, Gordon started last game, and then Christian Wood, Jayshawn Tate. Just start Wall.
I was gonna say Dice has
just have KPJ and Green play the 2 and 3.
You can do
start
that.
Wood and then start Jayshawn Tate at the 4. Like, it's not that big of a deal. John Wall's gonna help the development of Green and KPJ
need players like
and
that.
Wall. So it just doesn't make sense. The Rockets are bad for a reason. A team that's very young that we thought wouldn't be this good so far has been the OKC Thunder. They have won 5 of the last 7. They are 6-8. They are in the playoff picture right now. And Lou Dort in his last 7 games has averaged 22 points per game, 5 rebounds, shooting 52% from the field and 33% from 3. How surprised have you been by OKC's nice start and by Lou Dort's scoring output?
This is one of the worst offenses in the league by the numbers. The 29th offense rate, but this is a top 15 defense. And it's kind of reminiscent when, regardless of what his numbers look like, regardless of what you think he's contributing, when SGA plays, this team is just more competitive. It's just it is. Last year, they may not have been in the total playoff picture, but when he did play, they were a tough outing. It wasn't easy wins when you went there. You know it. LA, hasn't been easy playing these guys.
That's a fact.
And now they have Josh Giddey.
Yeah, and going because. Listen,
he's been offensively.
No, but I knew his offense wasn't gonna. But as a playmaker, as a defender, as a rebound, he's been
leading them in rebounds.
Yeah, man,
he's been perfectly fine. He's been what Joel was advertised as an offensive player, as a scorer. It's still finding his way into the game. He's a little inconsistent in that department, but everything else, he's been fine with them. Luke Dort's stepping into that role, that secondary behind SGA. So far, so good. He's looked good. He looked like Luka Dortz is a guy who improves on his game every summer, and he looks like he's improved on his game. Defensively, you know what he's going to do. He's that dog. He's a top, if you want to say, he's at least at worst a top 8 perimeter defender in this league. SGA, you know what he's going to do. He's one of the best one-on-one isolation scorers in the NBA. Solid playmaker. And this team has guys. Darius Baisley, he's good. Derek Favors, surprisingly, he's offered that defensive anchor for them down low. Pokashesi, when he gets in the game, he's been all right. He's shown flashes of being a good playmaker, a good shooter, a one-on-one guy. Isaiah Roby's been fine. This team is good. Theo Maledon, it has some young talent, and this team plays together. They play to win. They play for their coach, and that's one thing that shows when you play for your coach, and your coach sees that trust in you, you just play much better. This team is not the flashiest. This team is not the most talented, but this team shows fight every night, and they know who they are. And when you know who you are, you understand where you are in the league, and I think that's what's made them better.
I wouldn't say Oklahoma City is a good team. I would say they're a team that has potential. And that's where I feel like I can meet that middle ground with you, Riv, and see what you're saying.
I said they was a good team?
Yeah, you did.
I said, I didn't mean to say that. I apologize.
That's all right, man.
They've been playing good, though.
Listen,
I didn't mean to say that.
Which is fine. And look, I do think that they have some potential. Obviously, your boy Shea has been amazing for them. He's been a great scorer for them. Lugan Dort's finally having his breakout this year. His 3-point percentage could be a little better. It's 25 right now, but slowly but surely it'll
29.
Is it 29? I could have swore I just looked. You're 100% right. I apologize. 29, obviously, nowhere near as bad as 25, getting close into that 30s. I think that's where he'll probably finish.
I think he was looking at Giddey.
This season so early, these percentages are going to be very sporadic.
I agree. I think the way that he's been playing, I can see it going up, touching, bordering that 33, 34%, which I could be more than fine with, especially given the fact that he's shooting around 45, 47% from the field. It's just that they just don't have offensive talent outside of Lugan Dortz and Shea. Baisley, like you mentioned, has been a solid ball player, but outside of Baisley, the next reliable option is Giddey, who's averaging 9. And I think Giddey, maybe not this season, maybe not next season, but maybe the season after, we'll start to see him really break down to that offensive, or show improvements on the offensive side of the game. His shot is just not there right now. His 3-point percentage is not the best, and his field goal percentage isn't the best, but he's obviously doing things that impact the game in different facets. Obviously, he leads the team in assists, like you mentioned, and rebounding. But I don't think that you want Giddey to be your main rebounder. You need to get bigs into this lineup. You need to have some kind of presence in the front court. And I think that Pokachevsky, obviously, he's been all right, but he hasn't really been getting the minutes. Muscala, another guy that I'm just not in love with. He's their fourth.
He's been playing good, though.
But he's their fourth leading scorer. And obviously, he has been playing good, but at the same time, you need more. You just need more talent. I think that they are going to be in good position in a few years, given the plethora of draft picks that they have. I'm going to be high on this team in the future. I do think that they have potential, but as of right now, I'm still not going to be, I'm not going to overreact to their recent games. I think that they have potential, but that's really all that I'm going to say.
Yeah, you're right. Their offense has been horrible. The difference with Lu Dort this season is that he's finishing at the basket. Even as a rookie, when they faced Houston in the first round, he had that 30-point Game 7. And when you watch Lu Dort, he gets to the paint. He just wasn't able to finish.
Yeah.
And
He's a big boy.
As a rookie, he finished, his percentage at the rim was 46%. His second season last year, 43%. Right now, he's at 63%.
There we go.
So he's taking a drastic jump at finishing at the rim. And I kind of disagree with that big man thing, because I've really loved OKC when they have Jeremiah Robinson Earl playing that 5. I think, he was one of my sleepers, my draft sleepers, and I'm surprised he went to OKC. It's surprisingly, before the draft happened, my sleepers at the point guard position was Trey Mann, and at the power forward position is Jeremiah Robinson Earl. And OKC drafted both of those players.
Yeah.
Trey Mann hasn't gotten it going yet, but I'm very high on him. But JRE, when they play small, when they play with Shea, Dort, Giddey, Baisley, and JRE, they are very great defensively. They're tenacious. They have a lot of tenacity.
Definitely.
And they're switchable. And even though Giddey's knock coming out of the draft was defense, he's been a solid defender. He's been getting his hands on everything. And they can just switch a lot. So I think
you thought I was going to say something.
I did think I think they've been very good. And Derek Favors, when he comes in at center, he just brings in a toughness. He's a good screener. He defends the rim very well. And this team, defensively, I think is going to show that effort. The offense, as they start to get older and grow, Giddey especially, as he starts to get stronger, they'll be better on that end. But defensively, they've been really good. They're 13th in points per game allowed and 7th in field goal percentage.
And I'm pushing. Look, per 36 minutes, per 36. I hate using per 36, but I got to use it.
Per 40 is better.
Because that's my THT. That's my go-to.
But per 36, T-Man will average 17 points a game, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist. Even in the minutes he's played now, he averages 5 points. I want to see T-Man get more minutes.
He's better than Teo.
He's better than Ty Jerome, too, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and for offensive purposes, for this offense, I get it.
I think he got hurt last game, though.
I get it, his defense. And they talked about, I was reading this Athletic article, where they talk about T-Man. I understand his defense hasn't caught up in the NBA, but for offensive purposes and this team being as bad as it is on the offensive end, I think you should, being that you're in the position where you can go in and try things, I think you should try T-Man a little bit more minutes. Offensively, he's there. He has the ability. And I just want to see him get more minutes.
I feel like they need some kind of veteranship. I feel like obviously Al Horford isn't the most flashy name, but he was a guy that was on this team last year.
I don't think Wilson gives up on him.
No, I think that obviously he was fine, but the fact that they had Al Horford and they just said, here you go, take him off our hands, they would have benefited greatly from that. Obviously, Al Horford is an amazing rebounder. He would have easily led the team in rebounding, and he gives them a little bit of spark on the offensive side. I feel like they could have benefited from that, and maybe I wouldn't have had that high of that much of a question mark for their bigs.
I actually, Trey Mann, my pre-draft comp for him was Spencer Dinwiddie. So Spencer Dinwiddie at first wasn't a very good defender, but he started to become that, and now he's a solid defender. Too. Yeah, Trey Mann, they're all offensively, he reminds me a lot of Dinwiddie, and my pro comp for JRE was Brandon Clark. And I think he's kind of been similar to what Clark brings for Memphis. Even though he's not playing much minutes, they are very similar players. So, yeah, I mean, OKC, they draft well.
Definitely.
They draft well.
Listen, when you have 30 picks in however many years, I think they'll figure it out.
I think the one thing you can knock them for is drafting Trey Mann over Şengün. That's it. But even then, like, I like Trey Mann a lot, so I'm not mad at that pick.
I'm in love with Trey Mann.
Şengün has been really good, bro.
So I watched him in Florida. He was so nice, bro.
Nah, he was different.
He's got time to develop.
He's different.
Yeah.
So for the last part of the show, we are going to answer this one Patreon question. Top 5 favorite players in the NBA. This is from Burner Hoops.
Shout out Burner Hoops.
Yep. I'll start with you, Riv. Burner Hoops has all the basketball cards.
Bro,
that's the guy with all the basketball cards. Yeah.
So he needs these players right here. He needs to know what cards to get. Yeah, he needs to give us some of these cards for these players.
Okay. My top 5 players in the NBA. Okay, so 1, Steph. 2, D Rose. 3, Cam Reddish. 4, Paul
PG?
George.
Okay,
yeah, 4 PG, and then 5 Ja Morant.
You got Cam Reddish over PG?
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
It's just Cam doesn't play good, so I
genuinely stunned.
genuinely watch Cam Reddish videos about 4 or 5 times.
All right, well,
you didn't mention Daniel Gafford?
HL. All right, so obviously this isn't a surprise to anyone. My favorite ball player, LeBron James. That's by far and away. Number 2 right now, Anthony Davis. He's a beast, and I think that he's going to be a great part in us winning the championship this year.
Number 4, Russell Westbrook.
See,
number 5.
You'd like
no,
that,
3
right?
is definitely THT.
Nah, 3 is actually Zion Williamson. I love Zion's game. I think he's the second jersey that I own. I have a LeBron, I have a Zion
Ben Simmons
jersey.
at 4.
Ben is actually 5. I have him there. Tied with D-Book. I love D-Book's game. I was high on him early when he was, I think he's the 3rd highest scorer at the age of 22. He had the most points at that time, and I really took a liking to his game. But number 4 for me is actually Zach LaVine. I just find his game so exciting. The fact that he really took time to develop his game and be who he is today, I really do appreciate that.
And Burner Hoop's question was, even if it's not a star, who are your favorite players? So these are just favorite
players. So Cam Reddish.
Period.
So number 1 for me is James Harden.
Yeah, we know.
It's easily James Harden. Number 2 is Luka Doncic.
Okay.
But this was hard because
this was tough to make.
It's Luka and it's tied with PJ Tucker.
Oh, okay.
PJ Tucker, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love PJ Tucker, man. He's my guy, man.
So he's at 3.
Tied with 2.
Okay.
But 2, 3 interchangeable. I hope one day I can meet him, man. He's such an inspiration, motivation.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah. His story is remarkable, how he made the NBA.
We get it, bro.
Yeah. And it's funny because, JC the other day, after he's watched PJ Tucker play more, because when he was in Houston, I used to always rave about Tucker. My Twitter @name was PJ Tucker fan account, and I changed my profile picture to a big 3 of me, Harden, and PJ Tucker. And everybody thought I was trolling when I talked about his impact. But even JC the other day was like, yo, I watched Tucker, and I'm like, bro, I thought you were just bugging, but nah, he's really impactful.
He definitely is.
And I told them, yeah, it doesn't show up. But like I said, if they had a grit and grind Hall of Fame, like players were Tony Allen.
I was going to say Tony Allen
Zach
comes
Randolph.
to mind right away.
Zach Randolph and, Bruce Bowen. PJ Tucker would be in that grit and grind Hall of Fame.
First ballot.
I mean, for one, he's
right
probably one of the best corner 3-point shooters of all time. Tucker is just an incredible human being. He's tough on defense. He could guard any single position. Kevin Durant has said before, that's his toughest matchup. Even though Durant has gotten bucks on Tucker, Tucker never gives up. He has a heart of a lion.
It's funny because he said, when I watched this interview, I think we were talking about this, he said him and PJ Tucker and Tony Allen were two of the toughest guys. They're both mad small, much smaller than Kevin Durant. So it's crazy how all the small guys give these big guys trouble.
And not to mention, Tucker is the sneaker king. He's the champion. And I think, man, he has his
own house for sneakers.
Yeah, he's just a fresh dude. He
does get real fly.
A cool dude. One day I hope we can have him on a podcast.
No.
I'll get his jersey and get
I won't
it signed.
be here for that day.
Yo, that's disrespect. I'll be here.
And 4 and 5 is a toss-up between Chris Paul and Jokic.
Yeah, Jokic, Zion is in your 5?
No. Chris Paul, he's been somebody that I just love Chris Paul. He's my guy for sure. And Nikola Jokic, what can I say, man? He's just my guy,
another ball player, too.
Yeah, those are my top
mention. 5. I got to throw Zoe in there for me, man. I
like all my players.
I know, weirdly enough. I got to be an honorable Bull now. But
just be a Bull fan.
Nah, I can't.
Take them as your
from
East team.
afar.
So there's not. Afar.
Hey, I said they're contenders.
It's easy to like stars, but it's hard to really be a fan of a role player. I think most NBA fans, there's just that one role player that they're just a super fan of. For me, it's PJ Tucker. For you, it's Cam Reddish.
That's my dog.
Who's your role player that you're in love with?
Are we saying Zoe's a role player?
He is a role player.
But he has the fan.
He just has a crazy fan base.
Superstar
if I'm talking about a role player
Caruso, I absolutely love. I do love
but
him as a
does have
role player.
A fan base too.
Yeah, he definitely does. It's deserved.
Is there a under the radar role player that you're just in love with?
Not really, because like me personally, I'm a player fan, so I'm so just honed in on LeBron and everything that goes with that. So I really don't take a liking to other guys, because that's where I start to teeter in terms of bandwagon.
I have one outside of Cam, because I think Cam's going to be like the best player in the league, and he was in the league a while back. Devin Harris.
Yeah, you not giving me Caruso makes it definitely difficult.
He was an all-star
for me.
No, I'm talking about like even after, like in Dallas. Devin, like he was just one of the guys I just loved watching. Like I love watching his game.
So minus PJ Tucker though easily.
That's a firm one.
Oh my God.
PJ Tucker has a fan base too.
I don't know.
He definitely does. Bro's on a Complex every other week talking the sneaker king. Look at
if I had to do one without an All-Star game, I would probably have to say Kirk Heinrich.
Kirk Heinrich?
Yeah, Kirk Heinrich.
I bet like JR I used to really like until he did that boneheaded move in 2018.
J.R. Smith.
Everybody
loves J.R. Smith.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard not to like him.
I'm trying to think of role players in older generations, because there's definitely a few that.
Yo, Shane Battier.
Steve Novak.
Okay.
Oh, Steve Novak for me, definitely. So
yeah, Shane Battier might be my guy. Mike Miller's another.
Ben Gordon was another one that was my guy. Ben Gordon
was good.
Michael Redd I liked Michael Redd.
I loved Michael Redd.
Yo,
he
Ben
was
Gordon
a great
was
player,
solid
though.
for you guys. What do you have, back-to-back seasons of 20?
Yeah, he's off the bench bucket.
Michael Redd's jump shot in 2K,
money,
impeccable, bro.
Money.
Impeccable. Never missed with him.
Monty Ellis
Gerald
was
Green. I'm forgetting about Gerald Green. I loved him as a role player too.
Monty wasn't a role player though.
No, it was just one of my favorite players. Like I loved him.
Wow. So this is how we're gonna end the episode off, talking about role players. This was episode 131. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Pick Aside Podcast, on Twitter at Pick Aside Pod. Thank you guys so much for listening and or watching, and we'll see you next time.